Hi.
Hey.
How are you?
Welcome to episode 17 of the APE Audio Podcast.
Podcast.
Today we have a special guest.
Thanks.
Two special guests, actually.
Yeah.
But we have one, and the spotlight is shining brightly upon him. Hopefully it's not making him sweaty. Nicky Columbus.
What's up, man?
What's good?
Hey.
Thanks for having me.
We also have Adam Reinhart sitting down at the request of Nicky Columbus.
Second round.
Guest of the
Hi.
guest.
Hello.
Nick, do you want to tell us why you wanted Adam to sit beside you? Because
Just
none of
comfort.
us can figure it out.
Just comfort.
Adam is very comforting.
That's so sweet. I'm
Enough.
comforted by Nick as well.
So you have your
My
comfort
guy.
human, your comfort
Fuck
box.
Yeah, dude. I love you.
You ready to
I got
rock
crazy
and roll?
stuff in here. I got crazy stuff in here.
I don't.
Is it like the random thing that's at the end of Pulp Fiction? Is that what's in there? The possible
Okay, you
shiny
never find out
objects?
what's in the box in Pulp Fiction. Clearly, you've never seen Pulp Fiction.
I know. I'm just saying.
As
Is
far
it?
as you know, there's orange lights in that box.
That's
That's
what I
all
said.
there
Is it the shiny object that's in there?
Oh.
It was an
Oh.
ambiguous thing.
You know what? I just wanted to come down hard on you.
Stop doing that.
You always come down hard
I'll
on me.
Take any chance I get.
Have you ever come lightly? Hard up.
I don't think so.
Neat. So I'm Christian. I'm joined by Patrick and Ian. We got Devin over on the boards.
Patrick.
We got Alan snapping some sweet pics over in the corner. And we're going to rock and roll this thing.
Let's go.
So we got a couple icebreaker questions that we
Okay.
can rock and roll with you. We'll get you nice and comfortable.
Cool.
If you want to be ice broken.
I do.
Do you like your
Okay.
ice broken?
Two truths and a lie.
Oh, for real?
Yes.
Sure.
Fuck me.
Just gonna jump Christian. He had a thing going.
Oh, that's
but-
fine. That's
but we're
fine.
doing two truths and a lie, I guess.
Two truths and a
Two
lie.
truths and a lion.
Okay. I've been to Brazil. My favorite sport is baseball, and my favorite rapper is Drake.
He hasn't been to Brazil. You're an easy tell. You're an easy
I'm
tell.
sorry.
Oh, I was
Well,
gonna say.
how'd
Read
you
you
know?
like
How'd
a
you know?
book.
Because I've seen you chilling at mad baseball games.
Oh,
Oh.
okay.
The
that's
Drake
what I was
thing,
gonna guess.
All right, maybe
you
we should
wear that
redo
shit
this
on your
round.
sleeve,
straight.
and you don't have the complexion of somebody who's been to Brazil.
That's true.
Oh, okay. Wait,
You're not
I can't
very
even visit
Brazilian.
Brazil?
He didn't say he was there like yesterday.
That
Well,
kind of tan
it's
never
kind of-
leaves you.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
it's true.
word.
It's a lifelong
All
tan.
right.
It's a soul tan.
Do you
It's a
wanna go to
lifelong
Brazil?
tan.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind going.
Cool.
Well, that was a good icebreaker.
Fuck yeah.
You want to get the other icebreaker?
Yeah, hit me.
The planned icebreaker.
Hit me.
Okay, so this one we do it with like all the guests we have on,
Okay.
and it's kind of like a breakdown of your musical history. It's like a first musical memory
Okay.
when you were really little, something.
That kind of made you more edgy.
Yeah, the midway point,
Okay.
something
Edgy
that
mean
started
boy.
to change your taste in music,
Ooh.
and then
Angst.
where you're at now.
Okay. So my first memory of music, I do have a brother who is 9 years older than me. So before I got into music, he was kind of listening to music on blast in the house, and I remember him fucking bumping a lot of Limp Bizkit.
Nice.
Hell
Or
yeah!
a lot of Limp Bizkit and like a lot of OG Eminem stuff.
Sick.
Is there any Limp Bizkit songs you know the full, like the lyrics? You know the full song too.
I don't know any Limp Bizkit song title.
Damn.
It's just one of those days.
Word.
Is that a real song?
Yes.
Yeah.
I did it all for
Sounds
the
about
nookie.
And then I guess a memory that changed.
When he was showing you like Eminem back in the day, or when
Yeah.
you were hearing it, how did your parents feel about it?
They didn't like it.
Yeah.
Dude, I remember he went to an Eminem concert. I think it was in Toronto, and like I wanted to go so bad, not because I liked Eminem, just because I wanted to go and chill with my brother or whatever. And my parents were like, "There's no fucking way, like, you know what he raps about, da da da."
He hates his
And,
mother.
He buried
yeah,
her.
but I mean, like, there were never like I didn't have any restriction on what I could listen to and what I could not listen to.
That's pretty cool.
Even when I was like in grade school or whatever, like my parents didn't really give a shit what I listened to. So I appreciate that. But yeah, fucking
What's the
a
first
memory-
Eminem song you heard
first Eminem song I heard.
that you became a fan of?
Fan up Mockingbird 100. Dude, I made fucking like 12 remixes to that.
Really?
Dude.
Do you have those saved?
Probably on my iMac. I might have something in here too.
Ooh.
So when you said your parents like didn't really like react too heavily on like whatever kind of music you could listen to,
Yeah.
because you know sometimes in the early stages of your life,
Yeah.
parents kind of judge you based on
Sure.
judge your music taste, because sometimes there's a lot of swearing or vulgar lyrics that you
Sure.
might not understand, or understand like the depth of the lyricism.
Sure.
So how did they react? Did they not even say anything, or were they kind of like, hey,
Well, like
these kind of lyrics like, you know, aren't very
Right.
literal, or I don't know. How was it for you?
well,
growing up?
my mom's a little bit more conservative than my dad, but like there's been I remember multiple times where like I'd be in the car with my mom and like I'd put something on with like curse words, whatever, and like my mom's like what turn this
Nicky,
shit out, like,
kurva, I don't know
kurva,
about this.
przestań there, like, you know what I mean? Like she doesn't like swearing at all, but like it didn't get to a point where she was like, you can't listen to this. Like, if I catch you listening to this, you're fucking grounded. Like, never to that point.
Did you feel like you were close to that point?
Nah,
Because
nah,
my
nah.
parents sound like they were similar to yours. Like I could get away with listening to whatever I wanted.
Sure.
But there was definitely like a couple tunes that came on where they kind of gave me that side eye where it was like, if I ever hear this again,
Word.
I'm gonna beat your ass.
Under the Influence
But
by
like-
Eminem.
System of a Down, Cigarro,
Okay.
one of them.
Oh Jesus, that
Nice.
fucking song.
50 cents
Fuck
into club,
you.
into club when he drops the line, let this motherfucker burn or something like
Word.
that. My parents didn't appreciate that line too
Sure.
much.
They don't like
What
fire.
about in there having sex, Ein, and they're making love?
Yeah, no, they were like, that's part of
Oh,
a strong and
That's
healthy
passion.
relationship.
That's
What?
You listen
passion.
to that part more.
You go have sex. You don't make
Play that
love,
on repeat.
especially in the club.
You go make all the love.
It's actually in Duck Club, Mom.
Get with it or get out.
Learn about the culture before you comment on it. I would say.
Yeah, and to be totally
Ian's
honest,
mom,
when
or
they
Kristen's mom.
gave me that side eye for listening to that
Word.
song, it made me veer off into a path that was not hip hop oriented for a long time.
Ah.
Because I was like, I'm not trying to get yelled at,
Sure.
man. I'm just trying to listen to music that I like.
But like even along
Damn,
that, like
dude.
I had a lot of friends in the elementary school or whatever, and like their parents wouldn't allow them to watch MTV. Did you have those?
Yeah, there was
Were you
definitely
allowed to-
those kids. Oh, I was allowed to watch that
Okay.
shit. I could watch whatever I want.
I just chose not to watch it.
This guy, hipster before
Hey.
hipster was a thing.
Hey!
Just
Yeah, I definitely had those
joking
friends where
around.
their
You know?
parents
But
like
it's true.
wouldn't let them buy certain video
Sure,
games.
sure,
They
sure.
couldn't listen to certain music, and they couldn't watch certain things on TV.
Word.
And they weren't allowed to read Harry Potter because it's witchcraft and
What?
wizardry.
What kind of
School
people
yeah.
did you hang out
School.
with, dude?
I had some neighbors that were extremely religious, and they weren't allowed to read like Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter.
Damn.
Or anything
I'm
like
sorry
that.
to hear that.
Yeah,
Word.
dude, that's some crazy censorship.
Yo, you know what's crazy? I've read that there's a study that proves that people who were like basically taught that religious texts are true from birth have a harder time distinguishing fiction from reality the
I
older they
believe
get.
that.
So that makes sense that they wouldn't be able to read Lord of the Rings. So you know what? Good choice. Anyway, sorry. On with
Yeah, they'd start
Good
collecting all these
choice.
rings and trying to burn them
putting
in a
that in.
kiln.
oh for sure.
In a kill.
Yeah. We can't
Fucking
have
guy.
that. Can't have him melting down all the metal in the house, making rings.
All right, so that's kind of like your middle point, or was that the beginning?
That's the beginning. My middle point.
Damn, it's a rough start.
Fucking. I guess. Like I listen to a lot of like pop punk, so like Billy Talent, Sum 41, Blink 182.
Yeah.
I guess that didn't really change anything, but that's what I kind of started off with.
Yep.
And then that kind of led me. I mean, that didn't necessarily lead me on to starting to listen to hip hop or anything, but I guess listening before streaming services kind of became a thing. I was listening to a lot of my music on YouTube or whatever, and I guess I must have like stumbled upon like some kind of instrumentals or whatever.
Jesus.
And then there were obviously hip hop instrumentals, so that kind of led me to kind of expand towards the hip hop genre, and then just discover fucking Eminem. So I guess that's the changing point.
So, okay, so you're listening to like instrumentals first
Yeah.
before you got into like actual
Yeah.
lyricists and stuff. So was there like specific producers and shit that you're into, or you're just kind of like these beats are banging?
Just the beats are banging, and like in grade 8, like in English class or whatever, we were studying poetry, and then that's where I kind of started writing.
What?
So it started off with poetry, and then
What school did you go to?
St. Dominic's.
You guys studied poetry?
Yeah, in grade 8.
That's fucking wild.
Did we do that?
studied
I don't
poetry.
remember. Which teacher did you have in St. Dom's? Because I think we went to the same school.
Grade 8, I
Well, we
had
did.
Mr. Van Leeuwen.
Same year.
Well,
I clearly don't remember that.
Did you
What?
guys you guys didn't have a
No, I'm pretty sure
mandatory,
we
like
did.
poetry class?
I
Or,
kind
like-
of remember something like that, but
No,
I don't know. Maybe I just didn't pay too much attention to it.
Yeah.
These dumbos don't remember shit about poetry.
Or
I know. But
Life.
so when you did that with him, like, was that around the same time that you were doing, were you finding about these instrumental tracks through YouTube?
no, the whole poetry thing became happened before the
Okay.
instrumentals, and then once I found the instrumentals, like I had a collection of poems or whatever, and then I guess I just tried to spit one over the beat.
Nice.
It was trash, but I thought it was dope, so I kept going with it.
That's the best.
Nice.
And then yeah, that just kind of progressed to now.
That's pretty cool. So you think that's like the beginning point
Yeah,
of like what
100%.
kind of
Like, I remember-
started the
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
Like I
the
remember
bug.
that day like it was yesterday.
really?
Yeah,
Well, do
100%.
you remember what the name of the video was? Was it something that you came across like this artist type beat, or was it, you know what I mean? Because like back in the
It was before the type beats even.
Yeah, I think
were
that's
a
so
I
thing.
what
think
was
that's just
like
a
what
new
was
thing.
the, because it was an instrumental, right? So
Yeah,
there was really
I
no
know the
artist
producer
attached
was
to it.
Red Noodles Productions.
Red Noodles.
Red Noodle
Noodle.
Productions.
Nice.
Dude.
Sounds like that was used up.
And then so was that just like suggested or related through some other, like when you
Yeah.
were looking through like Eminem tracks or
shit.
something, and then it just was
Suggested
like, oh,
videos
what's
or
this?
whatever.
And then you're like, oh,
Yeah,
there's no vocals over this.
let me do something with it.
It was it an instant thought, or did you just like listening to the fact that it was just instrumental just because it was kind of
Oh,
different?
no, it's probably just instant. To be honest with you.
That's awesome.
Word.
That's cool. That's like just comes right from that, you know? It's almost like
I got it.
it was synergy.
Yeah.
That was your 8 Mile.
That's the moment. That's the moment it all started.
That sounds so funny without the first part.
That's the moment I got
For those listening, the first half of his sentence was in if it were 8 Mile, and then but all you heard was that's the moment. That's the moment. That was great. Yes, that.
Word.
That's the moment, you guys.
moment I got started.
Yo, that's how you have to phrase that third question from now on. Whenever you're being like,
What was-
your first, second, and third musical memory or whatever. However you frame it, I'm not here every week. If the third one, you got to be like, "What was your moment?"
It's funny 'cause there's this other podcast I listen to, and it's like chock full of conspiracy theories, and they'll get into like the easy to digest details, and then before they like get into the nitty gritty, and they go, "Here's where it gets serious." We'll just start going, and that's the moment it all started.
What was the moment that it got serious?
Nick, are you into any conspiracy theories?
Nah.
Investigate 311.
You think the Earth is like sort of a trapezoid, or
Well, 7-Eleven was a part-time job.
It's true.
you know what? I can attest.
I think everybody can
Not
agree.
personally, but I'm sure I could find someone who could attest, and thusly I could attest on their behalf.
That's a lot
Well,
of
the only
attesting.
reason I asked is because, like, you know, now with the internet and everything, like all conspiracy theories, even though they're not like they're super hard to get, you know, like to ride on.
Sure.
There's a lot
That's a
more that are
Pokemon.
coming out, but some that are like, okay, this is absolutely ridiculous, and some that are like, whatever.
Oh.
But
You believe in
anyways,
any?
I don't
He
know.
believes in all of them.
I believe, yeah, no, I'm
He's
a flat
fucking
earther, no.
You believe in Olive Garden?
Which is not
You
really a
think it's real?
conspiracy because it's actually a fact.
It's true.
No, I
It's all CGI.
I don't know. It's like they kind of come every now and again. Like you kind of
Gross.
like see them, and you're like, is this gonna be the, and then you're like, nah, like you kind of just like read
Is this
the
gonna
comments.
be the one to flip everything on its
Yeah.
head?
Is this
And
gonna
then
be
you're
the
like,
one
oh,
that
no,
I
it's
look
not.
into? Yeah, well, you
gonna
just look at the
shatter the
comments, then some
paradigm.
people just make some like really like sensible
Yeah.
points that are kind of.
Yeah, and you're supposed to scream at the top of your lungs that they're shills, don't you know?
They'll only let me
Man,
on
y'all got to
Instagram.
see that new Netflix documentary that I personally have not seen, but I've seen a video
So
summary of called "Behind the Curve" about flat
I watched it,
earthers.
dude.
Really?
I fucking watched it.
Thank Christ, someone else has seen it.
Dude, it's funny as fuck. So like these flat earthers.
Wait, you suggested us to watch a video that you haven't seen before?
I've heard it's good from a video that I saw about that movie.
This might be good. You
I'm just
should
gonna
check
break it
out.
down real quick for anybody who hasn't seen it. So
Quick.
there's some flat earthers in it, and they want to partake in a
Logan
science
Paul?
experiment. No, not Logan Paul.
Son of a
They want to participate in a science
He's only a
experiment
fresh
to
one.
prove that the Earth is flat. So they order this highly precise laser guided gyroscope that it's so sensitive it can detect the movement of the Earth. It detects the movement of the Earth and shows that it's like moving in like like a circular formation, and they just go, "It's broken."
That's also the one where they do that thing where they got the two pieces of wood or whatever,
Yes,
and they're
they try to
shining
fire
a
a
light.
laser, and by the time the laser gets to the third post, it's so distorted it covers the whole post. And the guy just goes, "I didn't think it would happen like this. We'll have to come. We'll have to come
probably-
back."
I better
probably
check my
not right.
hypotenuses.
Yeah, that shit's crazy. That shit's so stupid, man.
Yeah.
God damn it.
And then whereabouts are you now? You said you were like listening to some bedroom pop and stuff like that. A little less rap and hip hop.
Yeah, let's rap now.
What's bedroom pop? I don't really know what that is.
Another sounds like shoegaze to me.
It's the stuff he's making.
Oh, like so, like how would you just? Well, how would you describe it? Like to how would you sell it to me if I didn't really know it? Well, I don't.
It's low key mainstream pop.
Okay.
Just like
So when you say
not
like
in your
it's
face.
Not in your face, like crazy.
Yeah.
not like
beats that are
bumping,
just,
like
maybe like closer to like 80s pop. Just kind of like
okay.
um
So it's kind of a bit wavy, but like
Yeah.
like a decade ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Has that
Or
been like
behind-
inspiring you a lot lately? Because I noticed
for
like
the melodies, for
a couple
sure.
of the singles you put out
Sure.
under the Nicky Columbus
Sure.
moniker or alias or whatever you want to call it.
Sure.
They've had like a lot more melody and almost like singing
Sure.
to them compared
Yeah.
to like a lot of your earlier work.
I'm definitely off of like sitting down and coming up with bars.
Yeah,
Like I'm off of that.
yeah.
Why?
Why? Do you think it's
I don't
corny?
know. No, it's not corny at all. Like I respect like Tyler,
Yeah,
Child, whatever,
yeah,
kills it.
yeah.
Shout out to
You know what I mean?
Tyler.
Do you just think
I love you,
Tyler,
Tyler.
Tyler.
I don't have the
That
drive
written voice to write
and
those
that.
kind of
Yeah,
things.
sure, and that.
I sincerely
Um,
love Tyler.
We all
Wherever he
do.
is, whichever
But I
one.
mean, with the melodies, I
mean,
don't know. It's what I like to hear. It's what I like to listen
Sure.
to. Like I'd rather listen to something more melodic than heavy bars. Like
Yeah,
It
I
inspires
love
you
it. It
more.
sounds
You know
like
what
you're
I mean?
having a fucking
Yeah.
blast, dude.
yeah, I'm having a good time.
Like I listened to those singles that you put out, and I'm
Word.
like, hell yeah! Like
Word.
that 2 Chainz song I was showing you before,
Yeah,
where I was
the-
like, I want to roll down my windows and
Straight
it's a
up.
sunshine and day.
That's it.
I put on some of your music. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's fucking sunny out.
Word.
It's a good time. Is that like kind of what you're trying to hit with those?
Well,
those
like
tunes that you make?
at the same time, like whenever I'm making music, I'm trying to make music. Like I'm trying to express myself through my music. So if I'm not about bars, if I'm not about like that gritty rap scene,
Mhm.
if that's not who I am, I'm not gonna make that kind of music. You
Yeah,
know what
for
I mean?
sure.
Yeah, you
I
write
think it's
music
really
for
funny when you
yourself.
see
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
dudes trying to like pull off that
Sure.
that really gritty, hardcore, like nose to the fucking streets
Word.
kind of rap. But you look at them and they're like extremely affluent individuals that you knew like grew up like in the suburbs, and it's like, what are you doing, man?
Word.
Like this is awful.
Yeah, I'm just trying to stay true to myself. To be honest with you.
That's dope.
Yeah. You just write music for yourself. That's like
so great.
it'll transcend time. You know.
and, like that's the thing. Like I understand that when I back in high school, like I was more about like the whole rap thing.
Yeah.
And I guess a lot of people from high school are like that's my the majority of my fan base is probably kids from high school or whatever that I went to school with.
Back when you went under Kryptonite?
Kryptonite, yeah. And now that I'm making more melodic stuff, I feel like it doesn't necessarily cater to the majority of my fan base just because it's something different. It's probably something that they're not necessarily used to or whatever. And that's something that I kind of struggle with is like making sure that I'm making music that I'm happy with, but at the same time I'm making music that my fan base also kind of enjoys. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I think you're heading in the right fucking
Word.
direction. I mean, like
Yeah.
I listened to some of your old like mixtapes and stuff, like
Word.
Cellar Spider, and I think you even put one out under Nicky Columbus.
Yeah. It was garbage.
What is it, Grey Wolf?
Yeah.
Boombox or something
Yeah, it was,
like
it was
that.
whack.
Why do you
It-
say that? Why do you say
I
that?
don't think
It-
it was
I was
whack.
forced.
I don't
It was
know.
I just want your honest, like the
It was
creator's
forced.
opinion. Like what made it forced? Was it like the flow, or was it like the lyricism, or like what? Was
No,
it?
the thing with me, whenever I plan a mixtape out, like I'll have maybe like 3 tracks ready to go, and then I'll be like, "I mixtape next month," and then next days I'm like, "Okay, now I got 1 month to write fucking 7 more tracks."
Oh, so the
It's
deadline.
time.
yeah.
It's all
Why
time.
do you do that to yourself?
I don't know.
You just get excited.
I get way too ahead of the curve, man.
I feel
way
that. There's
too ahead of
definitely
the
times
curve.
when like I come up with like beats and songs, and I'm like, yo, I
That's
could
it.
totally,
Album's dropping.
I could totally make a
You know what I
fucking
mean?
record out of shit like this. And then I go to sleep and I wake up and I'm like, I fucking hate that song.
Word.
That's
That's-
it. It's like you're like I woke up. I can make 1,000 songs if I continue to feel this way
Yeah.
for 1,000 songs length of time, which is a long time.
Yeah,
I think it's a matter of like
definitely.
channeling that whatever.
Your
I think it's kind of
Lockwood.
like stepping into it, kind of like what's that?
Channeling
Channeling your
your
Lockwood.
Lockwood.
Yeah.
Channel your liquid. you got to basically channel Sonny from Miami Vice.
Sorry,
He
inside
gets
joke.
shit done.
Okay.
The main guy from Miami Vice, Don Johnson, that's your inner Lockwood.
Okay.
For
I'm
sure.
gonna channel that right
Yeah,
now.
wear a long
it's-
white like blouse.
You mean like the ones that
Drive
you
a
wear on
sweet
stage?
car. Correct.
Nice. I love it. Well, I would say you channel something like that whenever you're trying to
Word.
like, because you're saying like you want to wake up and you're saying if I feel the exact same way I can make 1,000 songs like
Yeah.
this. But I think every day you wake up feeling a little different. So it's a matter of
That feeling is a
channeling
little
that
moment.
Lockwood and seeing what new thing comes about it. Like, you know what I mean? Like what new style of music, like it's not going to be, it's like, you got to kind of embrace how different it is going to be from the last thing you did. Just go about that and wake up the next day and just ride whatever vibe you're sitting on. And then when you look back on a month's worth of work, you can pick and choose, well, these things sound similar. So I'll put this into a mixtape and then, or this into an EP or something
Word.
like that. That's kind of more or less what it's like, it's hard to do though, right? Cause you want to like ride, like, you get hyped on a song that you wrote and you're like, I do want to make 50 more of these, and then the next day you wake up and you're like, oh man, I don't feel that from yesterday. But it's like you're on a different vibe, so you just gotta kind of.
But even if like I go back to the stuff at the end of the month, I'm almost embarrassed by the stuff that I wrote at the beginning of the month.
Yeah, no, I feel that
It's
because like
weird.
when you were saying, Nick, when you like listen back to something, you're like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, that's whack. But I'm sure
At
if
that
you,
time,
like,
it was the dopest shit ever.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
Well,
Yeah.
what's your approach right now? Because
To
you
what?
you haven't said like, oh, there's a mixtape coming.
Oh, there's no more mixtapes.
So
Like, nah.
dope. This reminds me of what Chance the Rapper's sort of doing right now,
Okay.
Boo.
where he goes, I make a song, I like the song's gonna come out tomorrow.
Sure.
That's it. Don't expect
Sure.
anything else. I might just quit after this.
Word.
Like,
or
You
do
should.
I'm gonna
or
put
do
out
a Doritos commercial.
Yeah, you should quit at this point. I think. Drop
No,
another acid
But
rapper.
he
quit.
just puts out what he likes. He's not forcing himself to make music because people want it. He's not forcing himself to make music because he feels obligated to make music because that's what he's done. It's just kind of like he puts together something that he enjoys. He wants to put it out for us to enjoy it, and that's kind of it.
Word.
Are you kind of like of the
Yeah.
same mindset right now?
Like the last song I released, 94 Infinity.
Last week?
Yeah, last week.
Hell yeah.
I'm pretty sure I had that done in February,
Yeah.
and I was like, okay, it's coming out in March. Here's a day, and then that's that. You know what I mean?
Now, as you record these things and release them,
Yeah.
are there things that aren't being released as well?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sitting on a couple tracks right now that I'm planning on releasing in the later months,
Mhm.
but when the time's right, the
The
time's
mood's
right.
got to be right.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So no more mixtapes.
Nah,
What about albums? Would
Or
put
are you
together
in the
an album,
singles
like
business
something
Are
now?
more
you a single
structured?
dude?
I am a single dude.
Damn.
Sad times out here.
That's how it is though.
What's it called? What's your question again?
Take it
Um,
easy.
I get that you don't want to put out mixtapes and
Sure.
like put a timeline on yourself, but if you put out a body of work that you feel like can all come together
Sure.
in an album form, like would you put something
Yeah.
out like that?
Max like 5 tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the Good Music 7-track thing that went on over last summer?
Some of us are cool.
Yeah.
Tiana Taylor's album was dope.
Yeah. Well, maybe not necessarily like the music of it,
okay.
but the idea of
Of
shorter
7?
albums.
Yeah, I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it a lot too.
Like I've noticed that there's a lot of songs that are like under 4 minutes. Like there's a lot of tracks that coming out now that are between like 2.5 to 3.5 minutes, and it's like it kind of our attention span is so small nowadays with like social media and whatever that
I feel like people keep saying that, but do you think it's just because people aren't putting out the kind of content that you want to sink your teeth into for longer than 2 minutes? Like I feel like a lot of like I've started to I still listen to a ton of hip hop, but like I've started
Okay.
to branch out into like R&B and stuff because
Sure.
I feel like some of those sounds are a lot more fleshed out. Where
Yeah.
like
Excuse
Why
me?
are you looking at me like
Nothing. No
Here,
reason.
let me hear it.
Nothing.
Okay.
R&B though.
You know what?
But no,
Fleshy.
the R&B does
like
sound a
Kyle
little bit more.
Dion's tape, dude. That shit's
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah.
insane,
He-
man.
That's the thing.
It's weird because I think with something like R&B, it's kind of in that realm of pop and hip hop that it's more welcoming to like a lot of collaboration, like a lot of producers coming together. Because if you, I was watching an interview with that guy and he said that there was like a lot of production that was coming in.
Right, and you can even invite bands and stuff to come work with you. It's not just you and a producer, I guess. That
Yeah.
kind of makes the process a little more cold and calculated, I suppose.
Yo, another thing
Yeah.
too is that like if you're talking about R&B, it's like the people who listen to that kind of stuff. You're talking about like long song people versus short song people, right? Like
True.
Yeah.
people who listen to R&B are willing to sort of get down for 4 or 5 minutes and just sort of let a slow groove sort of hit them.
Yeah, you're trying to
Whereas-
feel an emotion.
Whereas your regular dumb public, they're like, I need
I need the
I
slapper. I
exactly-
need the fucking tune
need
that's gonna blow
three-
the doors off the whip.
Yeah.
That
I need-
shit pisses me the fuck
I need
off,
3 minutes of
man.
and that's it. And then you have these other people who are like, and the thing about the people who are more like this, who are willing to sort of like, you know,
Get lost in
enjoy
it.
For
and get
any of
lost
the
in it.
audio listeners, Adam's waving his arms around
Yeah.
like two little
He's like
dolphins.
he's gyrating right now. It's pretty
as
nice.
if
A
I
little
wasn't
Jeff Goldblum
earlier.
there.
Just keep gyrating.
But,
You are a
anyway, so
gyrator.
the long song people are more willing to sort of like they'll take it all in, you know? Like you don't have to like grab them early. Like you can just sort of you can set them up with the thing. And also those are the kinds of people who are more they're more mindful, they're more conscious of what they're listening to. Those are the people who are willing to pay more for their music and willing to support a musician
Yeah.
more monetarily.
They're more
through,
empathetic
you know.
about the artist rather
They're- yeah,
than
they're more-
just
they're more-
reactive to the song.
Right, they're more
Yeah.
sensitive to
True,
the
true.
entire experience.
Yeah. I totally get that.
So it's like you may have less of those people, but they're willing to invest more into your music.
So who are you targeting? The 2-minute song people, or the 4-minute song
He's
people?
going for the in-betweeners, the 3-minuters.
Yeah.
The 3-minuters, ooh.
Ooh.
That's a
It's a
rare
new
bunch.
genre.
I don't know.
It's a tight
doesn't
Doesn't
matter.
really
You
matter,
just
to be
make what
honest
you
with
want
you. Yeah.
to make.
If it's 2 minutes, if it's 2.5 minutes, if it's 3, if it's 4, it's 5, whatever.
True,
That's
true,
the
true.
best, you know?
Is
It's
there
just a
any,
true expression of yourself, you know?
Any set things you have when you go into like any song, or is every song kind of like head first, like whatever happens, or do you always have like a specific goal in mind besides it like, you know, sounding good?
Sure. I start with the hook every single time.
No, yeah. You're a hook guy,
Um,
definitely.
You're a hooker guy. We can tell.
Shit.
1-800-hookers.
Yeah, definitely I start off with the hook. And then once I get the hook down, that kind of leads me towards what I want the verses to be.
Okay. Yikes.
I think it's a little bit easier of a process just because the hook is going to be most of the time it's going to be the thesis of a song.
Yeah,
Did you
yeah,
get that?
definitely. It's kind of like what everything wraps around.
Yeah.
Now, with the hook, do you come up with it by yourself, like a cappella, like in your mind, like out of nothing, or do you listen to something and you kind of like sing along to it, and then you're like, okay, this is my starting point?
Okay. Like my writing process for hook specifically is like I'll find a beat that I fuck with. I'll loop the hook, the
Mhm.
part of the
Where
The
you want the
beat?
hook to land on?
yeah, and then I'll start humming like a melody or whatever. If I get a good melody, I'll put words behind it, and then
Cool.
onwards.
Dope.
It's cool. Even though you're like picking, like, so you're not making your own beats. You're like grabbing them and then
Yeah, off
and then
YouTube.
working them the way you need them to
Yeah.
be worked. That is something a lot of producers will do. Is they're humming over the tracks that they're making
Yeah.
Sure.
to understand how, like, even if that producer's not a rapper or a singer or whatever, they're trying to like get into the singer or rapper's mindset.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
go, okay, this is how they're gonna fall into the pocket. So
Yeah.
it's interesting that you kind of take that same
Same
route,
approach,
but you're not
or-
producing the beats.
Yeah, you take that like production mindset where you worry more about like the melody than you do like the lyrics. Like it's more of like how the music is constructed, and you're like kind of focusing on how is like the song being projected, and then you can kind of put the voice and like the words sending that message, I guess.
Yeah,
Or
and like even before I found out that approach, I remember like when I first started doing my thing, I'd write the song, like I'd get the lyrics all done, and then I'd find a beat to match the lyrics, and that's fucking hard, man.
Yeah?
Like it's impossible basically.
do you have to like kind of rearrange like,
Dude,
'cause let's say you have like one line, you're like, oh shit, I gotta break this up.
Yeah,
with,
too
like,
many syllables or whatever,
yeah.
and she's like, this doesn't flow right, I gotta rewrite this shit, I gotta rewrite that. Yeah, and then I started doing just like finding the beat and then writing to the beat rather than
Working
writing
the
and
other
then
way.
finding the beat.
Interesting.
Yeah. But it is frustrating looking for beats on YouTube. Like I wish I knew someone
You
from
do.
KW or whatever.
You do.
I guess I do. Fuck's sakes.
Entrapment.
Word.
Choose us.
That's
Uh,
illegal. That's not.
But you know
But
what I mean?
but for
Yeah.
real,
Oh, definitely. I was just gonna ask, like, does it ever bother you that, like, you're kind of stuck in the box of picking these beats? But I guess you sort of answered the question right there. Like, you
Yeah, it's
have to
frustrating.
grab them off of YouTube, and
Yeah.
like, I'm sure you have melodies and songs in your head that you would like to get out, right? Like,
Yeah.
do you want to like approach producers
Someone?
and stuff in the area and
or
like
have you
get-
thought about
get
making
work
your
done?
own, like you ever thought about getting into production or anything?
No.
Nah.
Like I had a couple thoughts here and there, but never anything that like made me.
Takes too much out of the fun of just like being.
Yeah, it seems tedious. It seems like
It is.
Yeah.
There's a reward to it that kind of
Yeah.
makes you want to keep doing it, but at the same time, it's like it takes up so much of your time that when you get down to the actual music, it's like you're realizing how much like
But you have so
you
much
realize the
control.
balance of time, yeah.
You have so much
Sure. You do
control.
you do have
right?
so much control, yeah, because if you, can
could,
shift a note
could
here or
write
there
the
and you're
lyrics
like,
first
oh fuck.
and then make a beat
Make it be
to
on top
fit
of it.
that.
Yeah.
That's the
Sure.
interesting thing is if you have like a crazy like specific vision of something, if you know in your soul what the beat is going to sound like, you're the best person to make that.
True.
And so like even though it sucks to like learn how to do that, that was one of the reasons I learned how to make stuff on Guitar Pro, is just because I got frustrated by the fact that like I wasn't finding these complete pieces of things that I wanted to work with. So it was just like, I got to make my own, god damn it. And you know, I would just get high and go on the computer late at night and watch a video on the other side of the thing and just sort of make a thing. And then eventually it'd be like,
Yeah.
like after years of just sort of plugging away and being like, well, this is not terrible. And then they get less and less terrible. And you just sort of make
Yeah.
them just for nothing. You just like, if your goal is to just finish something, or you're just like, I just want a beat, I want bass, drums, and some synth, that's it. Blah, I'm just going to finish it, 3 minutes. Just fuck that shit, move on to the next one. If that's your goal, is to just crank them out, like you'll eventually, after a little bit, you know, if you're willing to do it, then you'll find that you just start making stuff that just feels like you, and you'll just be like, oh, I know exactly what to put over this
Word.
or something.
But sorry, go.
But-
No, no,
but-
no.
but-
What
but-
was your butt?
I was trying to. I thought you were done. Never mind. Go.
I want to explore your butt. Please
we can
give
always
us your butt.
You offered it, dude.
Well, should I do like the Ace Ventura thing, like where he like?
You're gonna crawl
you
out
should
of a rhino's ass.
use
Nah.
your mouth
Oh
like
Jesus,
always.
no.
Let's get a rhino up in here.
But,
Where's the rhino? He's late.
Fucking rhino
here,
is
baby.
always
There's a
late,
rhino
dude.
coming.
Always
Evan?
fucking late.
Oh,
Oh,
I thought you were
Hi-oh.
like Spider-Man villain. Paul Giamatti's coming later.
Dude,
We're gonna
you sunk
fall
it.
out of his ass like in that.
I'll be
movie
honest.
with-
I totally forgot what I was going to interject with. So
But-
I feel like.
about you know sort of the process of sort of
Oh yeah. What
making
I was
your
going to say.
own
Right. Thank you
things
so
after
much
a
for
little
triggering
just
that.
out of a source of irritation. You're just like, I'm gonna just make some shit, whatever.
Just let me butt.
I was going to ask if you've ever come across a beat that was like instant. Like I know what to do. Like this.
Those are the situations that I fucking live for.
That's why what makes you keep
Dude.
wanting to go back to like finding a beat rather
Sure.
than because you're just like, oh, I just
Yeah,
gotta.
yeah.
It's like sifting for gold.
Dude, 5
right?
seconds in, I know it's good.
Yeah,
It's
dude. I
crazy.
kind of feel the same way
crazy.
when I listen to a lot of music.
Yeah.
Like I feel like it comes out the most when I'm like making playlists and shit, where I can like put all my music on shuffle and I know within like 2 or 3 seconds if it needs to go onto
Sure.
a specific playlist.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Hey. I feel you.
Did I throw you off course
flag
there?
over top just fucked up my train of thought.
Should have hit him in the head. He would've
Playlist,
said better
5
things
seconds.
after.
Oh yeah. Within like 2 or 3 seconds of,
Yeah.
of playing a song,
know
you're
it's
kind of
good.
like it just pops. And you go, yeah. This is the one. This needs to go here.
100%.
Cool.
Now, do you ever get inspired from things that are non-musical? Like you ever, like movie soundtracks. Like you're going outdoors and you just like, I don't know, just anything that's non-music.
Sure.
Musical?
Definitely movies. I mean, working at a movie theater for fucking 7 years, like I've definitely seen movies that have inspired me to go do something or take music in a different direction. Like La La Land, for example. Have you guys seen La La Land?
No, I have not yet.
No.
So
That
what
movie's
about?
amazing.
what
Get
about-
on it.
It was
Are
dope.
you
I know.
fucked?
My dad's been telling me about it too. He's been like, watch La La Land.
It's great.
So what about that
great.
movie? Was
Just
the
the aesthetic of it and just like the LA scene. I don't know what year it was fucking filmed in or whatever, but just the whole vibe, like the life they lived.
They have old timey vibes, but in a modern setting. It's cool.
Sure.
They got
Yeah,
the 40s aesthetic, but in like a modern
Yeah.
setting.
Oh, like Fallout?
It's super cool. Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
that turned out
Fallout.
pretty good, huh?
Cool.
Word.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, movies, I guess. Nature wise, not really.
You never just see a majestic eagle flying above, and you.
No, but you ever hear
I
like
need to write
birds
a
and
song
and
about
just like
America right
like
now.
I don't know, just like weird things that kind of
Word.
like birds or maybe
Flapping the wings like they just don't care.
you ever
at
hear like
that.
Adam just like in you're walking in the woods and Adam just kind of
Every
in the
day,
corner
man.
doing the Creed
Every
voice.
day.
In a bit of a Creed voice.
Yo, I was.
Yo.
I was watching some gameplay for this video game the other day, and
Huh.
there was a waving American flag on the ground, and when your
Yeah.
character runs over top of it, you become invincible, and just
China.
shredding guitars start playing. It was fucking awesome.
That's hilarious. Oh man.
That's
Huh.
I don't know why the
That's
Creed
fucking
voice
great.
made me think of that, but there you go.
Creed shreds.
Hell yeah.
So does Nickelback, by the way. If you haven't heard,
Yo,
Pickles
that
snack.
song you
Hey.
showed us,
you fucking love it.
that changed my life.
Oh,
Smoking Dynamite, or whatever the
is
song.
that coin for the ferryman?
Yeah,
Is that
yeah,
coin
yeah,
for the
that's what it
ferryman?
is.
Save
That's what
me
it's
some
called.
corn for the ferryman.
What do you think about Nickelback, Nick?
Back.
Yes. Tell us.
Oh, have you heard their new Genty shit? Oh yeah.
I love.
Yo, okay, why do people hate Nickelback?
I think
Because
it's
you have to.
because
They're
you like to
easy
hate
to
it. People
hate.
people
Sure,
people
Yeah,
okay.
people enjoy hating it. I honestly, the older I get, the more I appreciate it.
yeah,
I,
because you
well,
can
I appreciated it when I
Because
was
the
younger
heavier
too.
they
I remember when
get.
Yeah.
Photograph came out. That shit was such a slapper.
That was my
And I
thing.
put that on my MP3 player and I listened to it like over and over again.
Word.
I bought "Saving Me" for $1 on iTunes.
Look at this. Look at
Damn.
Patrick over here. He's just
Photograph was a slapper.
Yeah, dude, it was a real catchy song.
Word.
It was a.
Photograph isn't slapping anything.
Tell me
Especially
that's
when
not a
it came
catchy
out.
song when it came out.
especially
I'm
when
not
it-
slapping
I know
anything.
for like 3 years straight it became the most played song on
Like
North
everybody
American
cry.
radio. But before it hit that status,
slap.
it was super catchy.
Joey's head?
Hell yeah! I was like, yo, I relate to Joey.
went to school.
Who can relate?
Yo, real talk. Real talk.
Yeah, I'm sure that really connected with the youth there.
All right, Devin.
We're letting
you can
this
probably
run out
kill
for a
the-
while,
You can
huh?
probably kill the Nickelback.
Oh,
So
come
that's-
on.
That's good
You
shit.
want to smoke some
I
dynamite?
wanted to hear
then?
more of
What
that.
Dude.
happened to the pickle snack?
But yeah, I think
Pickle snack.
I think people hate
It's a pickle
Nickelback
snack anyways.
because it's an easy thing to hate.
Sure.
Right? They have like a very iconic sound
You-
that
no.
tons of other bands have ripped off now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you just like it's kind of played out, but Nickelback continues to like as much as I hate to say this, they like push the production envelope.
They do. It's like,
And
just because their singer's influenced by Eddie Vedder doesn't mean the band itself can't do more interesting things. you know?
right, yeah, for sure.
True. True.
That's basically all it is. That guy's way too influenced by Eddie Vedder. I'm not going to support any music they make.
Yeah.
I mean, they're a funny band.
They
Like,
are very
They're like
funny.
some
Yeah.
Canadian dudes. It's weird.
And the fact that
Yeah.
he
What do you have
looked
against
like
Canada?
Jesus for the first 10 years is pretty great.
Yeah. I think people just
now
like
it's
to rip on them.
dynamite.
It's like trendy to hate them.
Yeah, definitely.
Devin
But-
Townsend once
Part of that.
said,
And
he
I want to
Devin
marry
Townsend was
him.
all like, "There's a thing
That's
in
what he said
Canada
about Chad.
where if someone gets way too successful, you're just inclined to say that they suck cocks in hell." But
Yeah.
It's so
And
true.
that- and-
Because everyone's going, how do I make it out of these damn planes?
how did he get American successful? He's from here. That's
For
not
sure,
fair.
for
Yeah,
sure,
exactly.
man.
That's why people
Yeah,
shit
that's
on
true.
Drake.
Yeah, I mean, I totally
Exactly right.
for a long
got
time
that
I was like,
Grammy.
yo, fuck Nickelback. I can't
Beats.
listen to that shit. And then Patrick played that song.
I didn't.
Yes, you did.
Nope.
Why do you play these fucking games with me?
No, he didn't.
Oh, now I'm playing songs. Now I'm playing games. What is with you today?
He's playing with your heart.
He's also
Anyway, Patrick put that song on for us, and the level of production on that blew my mind,
Thank you.
and I had to give kudos
Word.
to
Patrick.
the Nickelback.
quick shout out to
Actually-
the cool back.
You should give the shout out where it's well deserved. Actually, I think.
I hate you.
Nick, I see you have a box.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, we've got some people asking what's in the box.
Oh, it's in the
Really?
box.
It's funny
Crack
because
your
if
box.
you watch it with
in
the
the
green
box?
screen filter on it, it looks like Pandora's box. Like
Yeah.
he's about to open this shit
Yeah,
and unleash.
I'm
hell
excited.
upon
I'm
this.
excited.
Gwyneth Paltrow's head's in there.
She died.
Do you want to reveal it now,
In that
or do you
movie
want
that
to?
I mean,
What's in
just
the
a-
box
just
is
a
from.
bunch of rhymes in
Spoiler
here.
alert.
Really?
Shout
Yeah,
out to
just from
Gwyneth.
like back in the
Shout
day.
out to Gwyneth.
So is
wanna
it
pull one
like
out
a
and read it?
Gwenny.
before you do this?
You
before you
brought
do
the
this,
box.
That's
You
Gwen-
brought
before you do this,
Gwen,
I want to
Gwen,
ask a
Gwen,
little bit
Gwen,
about
Gwen,
Gwen.
the box.
Sure.
Gwen is Gwen
Um,
Stefani. But Gwen is.
Got it from HomeSense.
Interesting.
Homes. Oh, the box from HomeSense.
Teaching
Was
me
there
facts.
multiple colors of it?
I don't know. Ask my mom.
Damn. I don't know if I want to ask your mom.
Word.
Yeah.
Let's get her on
Respect.
next week.
You know.
Learn Polish and then you can
I
ask
don't want
her.
to
Okay.
ask your mom about her box.
So
Can you tell me about your box, please?
that's why I said respect, guys. Come on.
Hey, Christian took
Anyways.
it there. I'm following.
Wait.
Here we
when
go.
you-
It's
when did
opening.
you- When did
Whoa.
you start? Yeah. Okay. It's fine if it's open. When did you start? Like, what?
Bro,
what,
I'm gonna
what-
show you some shit right now.
All right. Because what started this? What started the idea? Was this like something at a young age that was like, I want to collect my memories? Was
box?
this something you did recently? Like, where's the? What's
No,
this
the box probably came. My mom probably got frustrated with me having fucking papers all over my room,
Oh, okay.
so she got me a fucking
to
box to keep
contain it.
everything.
Cool.
But dude, fucking, I have.
What?
Oh, landmark
Started-
showtimes.
We both recognize that.
Yeah.
What?
Showtimes.
Yeah, dude, this
Yeah.
is fucking.
Oh, and you wrote rhymes
Whoa.
on it.
Yeah,
man.
when I was
When
working
the
on my
SpongeBob
just
movie
some,
was
just some
out.
small shit or whatever.
So what's this one's particularly that Christian's seeing right now?
Oh,
Christian's
just a
reading
random one. It was just like a couple lines or whatever that I thought about that I didn't want to lose. But I mean,
Oh, okay.
Man, I've
So these are
seen
like
that
moments of inspiration you didn't want to
Yeah,
lose, so you
100%.
like were keen enough to like document it, and you're like,
yeah,
you look
and I
back
just
on
fold
it.
it up and take it home with me, whatever.
Cool.
Amazing.
Do you have any
So this
written
was
in
back
Polish?
when you're trying to write hard bars.
That one?
Yeah.
Probably. What is it? I come to this party because I know I have to spit. If you want to get high, then come take a hit. If you want to get drunk, then come take a sip. Yeah,
Ooh,
probably.
all right.
Can I see the movie?
That one resonates with the streets.
So for,
That
so,
one's
for
gonna
the, so by the
resonate
way,
with
for,
the
for
streets.
the listeners, this is lyrics written on a movie timesheet because
During work.
during work because
Yeah, whenever I got inspired or whatever, I just jot it down because I can't use my phone.
okay. You didn't do that. You didn't do the.
I still don't use my phone at work.
You don't do the drawing.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, I don't even know either. I don't even know what you're saying. I don't know what that means.
Do you guys have phones?
I've actually never worked at Landmark ever.
2014. Flynn, look up the year that American Sniper came out.
Didn't you just?
Oh,
say
with the
2014?
baby.
2015. There's a date
Fuck
like
me!
that. Right
I
there.
almost said 2015, then I changed it to 2014 because
Oh,
I saw
that's
the
so-
invitation game and it threw off
Oh,
my
that's
vote.
so
So
embarrassing,
are these in
dude.
chronological order?
Consarn
Or is it just
cons-
all messed up?
I think it's a mess, but
Never mind. Don't
I'm
Google
assuming
it.
that the bottom is probably the oldest.
So,
Tried.
how long ago did you get this box?
I got the box probably mid-university, so 4 years ago, 5 years ago.
4 years ago.
So this
5
is
years
all
ago?
Nicky Columbus stuff?
No, this is majority is Kryptonic. There's no Nicky
Oh,
Columbus
word.
stuff in here.
What are you studying in school, or what did you study? if you were done?
Sociology.
Sociology. How was it?
Boring.
Are you? Are you done? Are you like over it, or are you
Sounds
I
like
mean-
it.
riding on it?
I'm not writing. You can't do anything with it.
Okay, cool. No, good.
That's
to know.
I mean, you
man-
can be a
at
social
least
worker
the
if you
man
want, but
knows.
like I'm not.
I
trying
just
to
want
be
to
a
hear
social
some
worker.
truth. That's all. I just want to hear the truth.
No doubt.
Social worker or bust. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, honestly.
Boston is pretty good.
Okay, so is this
Oh
stuff?
shit, I'm in the wrong place.
Is
I'm
this stuff
thrown off
from
your
like
order.
from back
Oh.
back in like the no telescope and like cellar
Yeah, this is
spider
no
days?
telescope. Cellar Spider. Fucking.
What
What,
do
else
you,
was there?
Dark
Blurry
Knight
image.
Rises.
Blurry
Yeah,
image was
Blurry
fucking
Image.
I
university.
think you're focusing
Um,
on the wrong things here.
But
Get out of here. This is
Yeah, what's your
crazy,
question?
dude. Foreign Legacy
I was just
out in Thieves?
I was just asking if some of these
fucking
writings were from like back when you were working on those projects.
Got you. Yeah, most definitely. Now, I do most of my writing on my cell phone, just in the notepad or whatever. Yeah.
Do you find it easier to follow a train of consciousness when you're writing on paper or on your cell phone, or does it not matter?
The verdict's in.
Like, I mean, for me, when I write in a notepad, like
Yeah.
it kind of sticks, and I find it easier to sort of get my thoughts out really quickly. Where
Yeah.
on my cell phone, I tend to correct things as I'm writing, and it
That's-
might
yeah, that's
sort
the
of
thing.
veer
There's
the
more
train of
commitment to
thought.
writing it on paper.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're kind of
exactly.
like, that's it, and that's
more
what it's
of
going to
a-
be. You
Sure.
don't want to keep scratching it out and like writing under it and
Yeah.
all that stuff. So you kind of it's like, yeah.
But at the same, like whenever I'm writing on paper, I hate scratching things out.
Right.
So if I do want to rewrite something, I'm gonna get frustrated that I have to fucking scratch it out or whatever.
Okay.
And then it's harder to follow. And then whenever I'm holding the piece of paper in front of the mic when I'm recording, like
You can hear it rustling.
you know what I mean?
That's true. It's funny
like
when
that shit.
I watch like studio vid docs of lyricists, and they're holding their Patrick, would you stop looking at me like that, dude? You
very
fuck up my train
sinister.
of thought.
What are you thinking about?
He's like Larry David,
Yes.
dude. I don't know what the fuck I was gonna say.
You're talking about rappers in the booth looking on their phones, rapping
Oh
towards
yeah,
their
yeah.
phone.
Years
Look
ago,
at me listening
years
like a
ago,
fella.
you would see them just holding pads of paper in front of them, and now they all just have like their smartphone like
I think it
directly in
looks
front of their
super corny.
face.
Fire days.
Yeah, the pad of paper looked pretty cool. The
Legit.
cell phone doesn't really do it.
Yeah.
What if they use a flip phone? What if they held a laptop?
Why don't they just get a Palm Pre?
Yo, you know what's interesting about paper is if
It's
you just
made out of trees.
That is correct. Fuck those trees. Put your ink all over them.
Hey!
I'm just kidding. I love trees. Don't put your ink all over them.
Save the trees.
Anyway, the cool thing about writing by hand, you know the comedian Mitch Hedberg?
Yep.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
Yeah. So
Like,
so
12
that
years
man,
ago.
apparently the way he would derive all of his comedy is he would just like he'd open his book and he'd have 2 blank pages and he would just write about how he had to write until the page was full. He'd be like, fuck this shit, my arm's getting sore, blah 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 blah, and just sort of write just whatever was coming to his mind, just with the goal of filling those 2 pages.
Interesting.
And then eventually
that.
you start to just say shit. You start to just like come up with these little things, and that's how he'd come up with all of his stand up. Is he would just because he's like he's like a one-liner guy.
Yeah.
Like I laid in a twin bread my whole life, and I wonder where my brother was. It makes more sense with bread, of course. But yeah, he would just write shit, and just like the whole goal would be like, I'm just gonna fill up this page. I don't give a fuck what I'm writing. I'm just gonna keep writing, and then eventually these little lines pop out that are like really
I feel
true
like
to how you
when you're
feel.
writing like that, when you initially start, there's like this buffer that you have to get through of
Yeah.
just bullshit
You have
that's
to write
stuck in your
shit.
head, and you have to wait until your hand is completely in sync with your brain.
It's out of
and that's
bullshit.
when the gold can start to come out.
Yeah, because I think
You
it's
run
like
out of bullshit eventually.
yeah, because you're kind
you
of
can't lie to yourself for that long.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
like,
'cause-
well, I'm still fucking writing. I better write something.
yeah, because you're kind of you're raised to like think before you speaks, but
Yeah.
writing's more about speaking as you're thinking,
Exactly.
like just to get the ideas out.
That's a brilliant way to put that shit, man.
Yeah, it took me about
20
2
minutes.
minutes of thinking
Been
about
sitting
that
there
one.
rubbing your temples.
I'm like,
coming
how
up
can I
with
make
that.
a really profound way of saying this that can derail the conversation
I
into?
think we should
You succeeded. You didn't
focus
derail,
on
you
his
enhanced.
box.
Focus on.
Let's
Everybody,
dig,
look at
let's,
Nick's box.
Let's dig as
Um,
deep as we can into this
hey.
box. and
Actually, it's
pull
still-
out-
Yeah, I
it's
wanted to
still
say
kinda-
it's kind of like a deeply personal thing to like.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
bring
what are
out
you
here.
willing to
Do
share?
Do you feel like that, or is it just me? Like
Oh,
when,
I don't
when
even-
you're like going through it, it felt like I was going through like a family like photo album almost.
Oh no, I mean there's some cringy shit in here, but I mean, I don't give a
Do
shit.
you ever feel embarrassed reading over
Oh,
old things?
100%.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's the
And you're
realest-
comfortable sharing
that's
that with
the
people?
realest thing that could
Yeah,
ever
I don't
exist.
like life.
Do you-
Yeah.
Exactly, dude.
Fuck, that's crazy.
What's
Just keep
Will you
going,
pull
know?
something random out and just
Yeah.
read it?
And sure.
yeah? I would.
from
Shit,
deep?
Oh, man.
fuck's sakes.
So, if someone were to ask me to do that, there would be a couple books I would leave at home.
Well, I don't
guys
think
are-
you expected me to do that.
Well, that's
this one's pretty- I like
extremely
this one.
unkind. Okay, well,
Where did it come from? Like what point in
The
time?
heart, dude.
What point in time? When did Meek Mill start popping off?
5 years ago.
5 years. Okay, 5 years ago.
Okay.
all right.
Just joking. I don't listen to any of his stuff.
Okay. If I came straight from the ghetto, I'd show love to all my fellows. I'd show love to all the ladies in stilettos who are standing on the
Hey.
corner of the streets. If I was perfect, I'd be tearing every beat. Who is Kendrick? Who is 50? Who is Biggie? All these dogs, they be nothing on me.
Yo, this
yeah,
kid
dude.
wants smoke.
Word. If I was homies with Khalifa, I'd be smoking for free. So much smoke in my lungs, I could barely fucking breathe. If I was sleeping on the millions, I'd be dreaming about them billions. I'd be flying on my own jet. Yeah, word. I don't. You know what I mean?
That last one's cool.
I'd be buying.
It
things
reminds
that
me
you
of
could never
Mac
get.
Miller for some reason.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, man.
Is
That's
this
crazy.
Did you,
Yeah,
is that
dude, that
on
shit fucked
anything?
me up big
What's
time.
good?
Is that on anything?
This one's on YouTube
Yeah.
right now. If you want to
That's
pull it
amazing.
up.
Yeah. All right.
You guys have searched like Kryptonic 15.
Okay.
It should be on there.
Dive into
And
deep.
did you write that like at home or like where was the?
Oh, this is definitely at home.
Do you everything you write? Do you like? Does it take you there immediately to that point of where you wrote it and Like the
If I look through
headspace
the
and
book?
everything. Yeah. If you look through the book, like is everything memorable or is like
nah.
everything pretty vivid or no?
Some things are gonna be vivid. Some other things are gonna be kind of like, why did I write this? Where did I write this?
Yeah,
what
like you
inspired
pulled
me to
this
write
one
this?
out and you were like, yeah,
This
that's
one's
a
tight.
good one right
Yeah,
away.
yeah.
What's the song called?
If I ... Okay, search Kryptonic 15.
Yeah, go back to his channel. He had it up there.
KRYPTONICK 15.
There it is.
So we'll check this out, and then
Oh.
are we doing a break this week?
Yeah, it's fucking hot in here.
Okay. Well, maybe if you took your hat and your jacket. and
Listen
your
here,
two
fella.
sweaters off,
I don't do that for the
and
audience.
if you
The
stop
green
throwing
one.
so much heat my way.
He's no
Right
whore.
there, yeah. Oh, are we listening to it?
Oh, Nick,
Oh.
you don't even know.
Yeah. I guess.
Oh,
Yo.
do you mind if I take a
Excellent
look
intro.
at the?
Hey yo, I'm back. What up, though? My voice cracked. What up, though?
That's so amazing. That's perfect. That's so
I love
great.
that you left that in too.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Is this like?
I came straight from the ghetto. I show love to all my fellows. I show love to all the ladies and stilettos who are standing on the corner of the street. If I was perfect, I'd be tearing every beat.
Now, when you picked this song out, did it give you tropical vibes, or you just picked this background for no reason?
I picked it back from the
What'd you type in to get it? Like rainforest.
Meek
image?
Mill. It was a Meek Mill type.
Oh, nice.
Word.
Sleeping on the millions, I'll be dreaming about the billions. I'll be flying my own jet. I'll be buying things that you could never get.
Yeah. When did this get posted?
Yesterday.
Yesterday.
I said yesterday.
He was getting ready for the podcast.
Was the ruler of the world, I would eliminate poverty. Speaking like a
What,
prophet.
6 years ago?
Throwing money
That's
out the
crazy.
window like I won the lottery.
6 years, dude.
If I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
healthy, I'd do whatever I like. No more scooters, you can catch me as I'm riding on this
Now, do you
boat.
love it?
No more tears at night.
Dude, I love
See,
it.
do you ever listen to some stuff that you kind of wrote and you're like, oh, this isn't that bad?
Yeah, I actually have 2 mixtapes in my car right now. Like I'll listen to sometimes. Some songs I want to skip because it's just like, what the fuck was I thinking? But other songs like,
Yeah, cool. No, that's awesome. Does it ever change depending on your mood? Like you ever listen to some stuff
What
that you might have
mixtapes?
said like
What
this was.
mixtapes you
Spider.
put out? Okay.
You ever listen to some stuff that's like, oh, this is whack, but then like you might
Another
listen to
day.
it like 2 years later and you're like, oh, okay.
the thing with me is like, I'll release something. Let's say I release something tomorrow. I'm gonna hate it the next day,
Yeah.
and then like 2 months later, I'll be like, okay, this is dope.
I know that feeling, man.
You know what I mean?
You've heard it so many fucking
Yeah.
times when you're making it that
It's
it
like,
just
fuck, I don't want-
becomes
yeah.
shit.
Does it
Put it
change
out
your
there.
mind when people approach you and they tell you they like it a lot?
Does it change my opinion on it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like the next day you go, oh man, this fucking sucks. I can't believe
then
I put
someone's
this shit
like-
out. And somebody's like, yo, this is actually dope.
Yeah, it changes.
It reminds you how you felt about it the first time.
You don't try to justify like why it was shitty to them, because I feel like some artists would do that.
Well, I'm very I nitpick myself a lot. Like, I'll notice some things that I need to change in a song that other individuals might not necessarily hear,
Right.
and those things kind of stick with me. Sorry. But I mean, at the end of the day, like, I wrote it, I made it. If you're listening to it, you're not necessarily gonna hear what I hear. If that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, of course.
True, absolutely.
Yeah.
Are we gonna get copyright claimed?
Nick, you gonna take down our channel?
Yeah.
Strike us?
I'm gonna need some revenue share, fellas.
Trying to expand my
seriously.
brand here.
All right, boys, we're gonna take a break. We'll be back in like
25 minutes.
a couple minutes.
BR. Hi.
Count. When the first countdown just isn't enough, we go with the second.
Welcome back, y'all.
Yeah.
Hope you had a nice break. I'm sure we did.
We counted down from 6.
Take a nice piss, grab a nice snack, and we're back.
With Nicky Columbus and
Wow,
Adam
dude,
Reinhardt.
you've got a career ahead of you.
Hey.
So Nick, you were telling us during the break that
I'm frustrated.
this man needs to get some stuff off his chest. Is there anything you want to start off with?
Yeah, I'll start off with like the hip hop community in general.
Is this like an industry thing, or is this like the people like that kind of like the actual community, like the
actual
commenters?
community.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. I personally think the hip hop community is toxic.
Hell yeah.
In
It's
what way?
Like, it's very like a lot of more negativity than positivity. Like if like the one thing that I've learned about various hip hop communities around North America is, if you're a rapper in Atlanta, everybody in Atlanta wants to see you succeed. Like,
It's very supportive.
it's very, very fucking supportive. Whereas
L.A.,
or Toronto is like
New York.
It seems, New York specifically, it seems like it's a fucking competition, and like, if I make music and you make music, fuck you, and you're
butting
saying
heads.
fuck you to
Dude,
me.
I agree 100%. And even people who live in those cities, when like I see on Reddit, people are like, "Oh, like what can I do to prep up for like moving to LA?" And people are like, "Don't go to LA.
Sure.
Don't move here. It's full." And it's like,
Fuck off.
yeah, no, I agree.
And like,
Gatekeeping.
what
Yeah.
made me actually think about that is, it's like the way I try and get people to click my link in my on my Instagram profile, is just basically a link to the Spotify thing, to my recent single, is I'll comment something controversial, but like nothing that's gonna offend anybody.
Like what?
Yeah.
Okay, for
Like
example,
gingerbread sucks.
no, like
Dude,
I hate
chill out.
fruitcakes.
Chill out.
the last thing I posted, it was last week. I follow a bunch of Toronto Raptors fan accounts.
Okay.
So I'll post a bunch of like random stats from the game prior or whatever. And I posted fucking, hey, like I'm from Waterloo. I just released like a mellow vibey track. If you don't like it, I'll email you $50.
Damn.
And has anybody said that they don't like it?
Dude, everybody. And it's like,
So how much money have you lost?
You're baiting them.
I ain't sent no money. Fuck that, dude. You have to bait them somehow. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
No, I
Fucking
get
smart.
that. I
No,
get
no,
that.
that's
Like
good.
just when you
Dude,
said
that's
when
some
you said
good-
that, I'm picturing the post in my mind.
Dude,
and I'm
I'll
going,
open up some
I'm gonna
fucking-
click on that just so I can shit talk
Dude,
this
I'll-
dude.
Yeah.
what? Dude, and that's the thing that fucking pisses me off, is like, people are so
But did
quick.
you expect somebody to go?
I expected-
Yeah, this is this is so good.
Yo,
You
give me
don't
that
have to
money."
send me that
Dude,
$50.
like,
You
my
know the hard
expectations-
times out here, bro.
Like, I didn't expect fucking a lot of positive shit, but at the same time, it's kind of like, we're from the same fucking region. Like, people are so quick to shit on someone just for a
Dude,
quick buck.
Toronto's
Like,
trash, though.
dude.
The hip hop community there is fucking trash. Everybody's such a
What do you-
dickhead.
what do
Like,
Sorry.
grow a scene here. Like, get some positivity.
what do you
going
guys
here.
think-
There's a couple dudes doing some really cool shit
Word.
here. Get it fucking going.
Word.
You know?
On a curious note, though,
Sure.
now that we kind of have this understanding of like, okay, some cities, big cities, like entertainment capitals, let's call them, some have this like collective mindset of like, hey, we're very supportive and we like embrace, growth, whereas another one is the opposite. Like you said, they're toxic, to put it,
Mm-hmm.
in a nice, neat little package. So what do you think causes that? Because, when you see places like, I don't know, maybe even like somewhere like New Orleans, where
Sure.
like the live music scene is a little bit more supportive, but like somewhere, let's just say, go back to Atlanta. Atlanta's a big city.
Sure.
New York's a big city.
Sure.
They're both big cities, so it's not like, because LA and New York are a bit different. Like LA's kind of by the coast, and it's
Sure.
got this more like kind of
Laid back.
lax lifestyle,
Sure.
whereas New York is a little bit more hustle and bustle. Everyone's kind of like
Mm-hmm.
more packed in. So that's an example of two polarizing cities that share the same mindset. So what do you think it is that like brings, like, has a city being supportive of like their own community? Do you think it's just like generations of support kind of like helping the collective evolution, like what everybody thinks, or do you think it's more just like,
Can I hop in?
Yeah, hop in.
Yeah.
I think, to be honest, the
Opposite.
hip hop community in Toronto's so young
Sure.
still.
Sure.
Where, as in Atlanta and fucking LA, those are like almost the birthplaces of hip hop. Well, New York as well, of course. But like, I don't think it really spread up north for a long time. Like, probably within like the last 15 years, it
Sure.
started seeing like a pretty big explosion,
Yeah.
right? So it hasn't had that time to mature. I don't think we really have the elder statesmen that they have in other
Sure.
parts of North America.
Yeah. Oh, that makes sense.
That are guiding the younger artists on what to do and encouraging them on what to do. You have dudes that are in their prime still making music and trying to fight for their livelihood, who are trying to step on the throats of other artists who are potentially going to come up and step into the same space that they're in, right? You don't really have those guys who are like up in their like 50 years old, like that kind of range, like NWA's kind of getting up there, right? Like Dr. Dre's sort of been playing that role for a while, where he's
Yeah.
like, all right, new artists, like, come to me. I'll
Sure.
teach you.
He's the
what
grandpapa.
fuck- Yeah, he's
Yeah.
the grandpappy. Like, you need people like that in your music genre, in your music field, to kind of lift people up,
Sure.
right? Or to pull you up over the wall.
Do you think it's something that when big cities with like kind of like veterans of like the industry, because they capitalize on so much, do you think it kind of like leaves everybody else with a bad taste in their mouth, and that's how they grow that kind of mindset? You know what I mean? Like, because LA has so many like big shot producers, so you're like, they've capitalized on like so many markets that your chance of like breaking through in that scene is like, your chances are more slim, whereas somewhere else you're not. So do you think maybe because the kind of like overall attitude of the city is a little bit more bitter, because like they just know that their chances are more slim because it's more packed?
Maybe that. I personally think it's all basically just kind of like jealousy and just envy of like, oh, so and so is fucking headlining or is opening up for fucking Migos, or and then you start hating that because you want to be in that position, and you obviously think that you're better than them, because that's a natural instinct to have if you're in hip hop. Like, you should have that mentality of, I'm the greatest, I'm better than you, that kind of mind state.
Yeah.
So I just think it kind of revolves around being jealous of others' opportunities, but at the same time, no one's stopping you from getting yours. You know what I mean? Like,
Definitely. It's
But
just
they might be. Like,
It's-
like if there's artists that have the money to toss around, they can make shit happen. You know,
fair enough.
they can make sure that you don't play certain clubs.
Right, but instead of writing for 2 hours a day, go write for 6, or you know what I mean?
No, of course. Like it all is going to come down to like how much legwork are you going to put in.
Sure.
But I mean, it totally, like, depending on what city you're trying to come up in, it can be harder or
Fair enough. Yeah.
easier to come up depending on your peers that you're surrounded with. You know what I
And
mean?
and like the other thing that I don't necessarily like about fucking hip hop is like, I feel like it seems a lot of like the younger generation, it seems like they think it's easy to do. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Definitely.
But I feel like
SoundCloud rappers,
all,
it
I feel
seems
like
pretty easy.
all
You know what I
genres.
mean?
I feel like all
Yeah.
genres have went through this before, right?
Or
Like,
just people
when we were
exploit it.
younger, there was definitely bands I listened to, and I went, "Oh, I could fucking do that on guitar. I could do that on drums. I could
Yeah.
do that on vocals. Like, it's so easy." But it's one thing to look at an artist like that and perceive it as easy. It's another thing to put in that legwork
Sure.
and make the record or go play the shows and get fucking bottles tossed at you for being trash and
Sure.
like whatever.
I think it's what's popular that with whatever kind of music that's popular in whatever place and time, like back then it used to kind of be more rock based, now it's more hip hop based. I think it's because there's such a larger amount of people that are kind of hearing that come up story, they can relate a lot more to it.
Sure.
So they're like you said, like, I can do that, that's easy. Some people get that wrong idea of saying it's easy, but some people are like, I gotta work hard as much as this guy, but I know I can do it because I was in the same place as
Sure.
them. But I feel like you said, because there's a lot more people in this world and a lot more, everyone's more connected with the internet. So inevitably, with the hip hop music being the big thing,
Yeah.
in today's
There
age,
is a strange thing that goes on too. Like, you see a lot of these big hip hop acts coming out, and they're emerging from like SoundCloud, basically like free to upload services, and like they're extremely talented and they're doing like really well. But you have some older members of the community, or even just people who are a little bit ignorant to the work ethic, going, "Oh, because it was on SoundCloud,
Sure.
it's like a lower grade, it's
Sure.
a lower tier of
Word.
music," which I just think is fucking absurd.
dumb.
make SoundCloud great again.
But a lot of rappers got
make
by
red hats.
but just like dyeing their hair and just putting on
Yeah,
fucking
face
face tattoos.
tattoos.
Like, fuck
Yeah.
that.
You know what I mean?
It's so
it's
stupid.
the also when something's like really popular and really trendy, people just want to rip that off.
Yeah.
Because
Just exploit the shit
like I
out
said,
of
like
it.
that kind of relativity that they kind of feel they have with that artist. But the important thing to point out is, if you just want to be the next this person,
Sure.
you're always going to be second best. You're always going to
Yeah.
be second best. If you always want to be,
Definitely,
I want to be the
definitely.
next.
If you want to be anybody other than yourself, you're going to come off mostly ingenuine.
At the most
Like,
second
if
place.
if
At the most second
if
place.
You never are a caterpillar that emerges from that chrysalis to become your own fucking artist.
What the hell are you talking about?
I'm on some hippie shit,
That's-
dude.
What
Yo,
the
that's pretty
fuck are
much a
we
Kurt
talking
Cobain
about
quote.
right now?
Because Kurt Cobain, in his blessed name, once said
Hi. Whoa, Kurt Cobain
along
and
the
his blessed
lines
name.
of, "Why be a second-rate version of someone else when you can be a first-rate version of yourself?" That's not
Hell
what he
yeah.
said.
Being
Hell
number
yeah.
two
That's
is
not
just
what he
the
said
first
at
to
all, but
lose.
that's the essence of it.
That's all we need, though, right?
Yeah.
Kurt Cobain.
But this is why it said, like, we've seen this happen in all genres across many, many decades now. Like, it's really prevalent and easy to see now with dudes tattooing their face and dyeing their hair pink and going, I want to be like Lil Peep.
Yeah.
Or fucking XXX Tentacion,
Yeah.
or like
Lil
whatever.
Pump.
Yeah,
I wanna
yeah,
be
exactly.
dead.
I want to be like that. I want to be like them.
Be dead.
It's a little different, but let's take this into account. Much Music had a show dedicated to these people called One Hit Wonders.
Yep.
We also had Much
They
Loud.
don't even have a new thing of that.
Degrassi?
Yeah.
New season of
Degrassi's
Degrassi?
Next Generation.
Wow,
But you know what? I
fantastic.
think it's also
With
because
Jean-Luc
everybody's
Picard.
more connected with the internet
Picard.
now that back then when we were kids or even like teenagers like listening to music, we weren't that connected because we didn't have social media, or at least it
Yeah.
wasn't as prevalent. So because of that, there was still this magic mystery to like getting from here to like that big time, right? Like that to the big fame. Whereas now it's like you can easily see someone's growth with social media.
Right,
So
yeah.
because of that,
You
people
see-
can
you
like
can see-
people
you
feel like they
see
can
the
calculate
hot
every
meme
step.
they dropped
Yeah.
to explode.
I
You
feel
can
like
see
if
the
it was with
video
any
they made.
genre, to like kind of build on your point, if it was like in any genre in today's age, whatever one would have been popular, the same effect would have happened. Would have
Sure.
been like there would have been like a polarization of like the real versus like the fake, or like toxic people versus the supportive people. But
Sure.
yeah, I don't know. I think that's a good point that you're coming across, though, that you know there is a toxic element to this whole like new wave, especially since this is coming into pop music and stuff like that. So the question is, how do you prevent that from happening? How do you change that? Like what like I'm not saying like there's like a silver bullet, you know, move, but it's a matter of like, what do you think? Do you think it's in the music? Do you think it's in the marketing? Like, you know what I mean? There's
Yeah.
so many. So how do you? I mean, I don't want to turn this into a little brainstorming session,
Sure.
but
Yes,
sure.
no, we do.
Like let's
We do.
go for it. You know,
Oh, fella, take it.
how do you like?
Wes.
Maybe it's those points I came across. It's like obviously there's lyrics in hip hop that are very positive, and some that are, I don't want to say negative because it's kind of like the misogyny and all that kind of stuff has stopped a little bit. I don't want to say a lot because you know there's a lot to work on, but I feel like the negative aspect is more on like the drug culture and like, you know, the party culture to a certain extent. But
I would
do you
like to
do you remove
briefly
it? Do you
answer
remove
that.
it, or do you keep that as a balance? You know what I mean? Because you don't want to.
No, you keep that. That's the real
I think
shit.
it's- I think it's
it's
self-
more.
it's
It's more. How do you
I think
get
that's
other
wrong.
artists to put each other on? Like, how do you
Right.
get other artists to support each other? I think that's more like the discussion that's kind of happening, right? Like that. The party culture and the drug culture and the misogyny and blah blah blah. Like that's real shit that happens. I think it's more like we're more discussing like why are
Like-
certain artists trying to push other dudes like under the water and
like
make
why
sure that
Kitchener
they
and
don't-
Waterloo
they
can't-
don't gain
Yeah, you can.
Can't
Yeah,
connect.
I mean, I was explaining more or less one key aspect, like the lyricism,
Right,
like as
right.
one part of
Yeah,
the movement.
okay,
But
yeah.
I mean, like, there's other aspects to like moving this, like what you're frustrated about, Nick. Like, I agree with you, but I think it's also worth noting. It's like, well, how do we build off this?
Sure.
Like, where do we go from here? Like, you're not.
What
Pushing,
kind of-
it's obvious that you're not pushing any of that negativity, like in your lyrics and in
Sure.
your kind of
Yeah,
music.
yeah.
All your music is very good vibes kind of
Sure.
stuff. So, how do you influence? I know that word's kind of. It's weird how that word's become cliche now. It's kind of weird. Influence.
such an
like, being
influencer.
such an influencer. Yeah, I consider myself to be an influencer. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
it's
Fuck.
just that an entrepreneur. But
Do you have any ideas? Like,
No.
like what kind of situations of like adversity have you been put under, like releasing your music? Like, have you had other artists like kind of downplay you, or
Waterloo folk?
anybody we need to take care of out there?
Kitchener Waterloo?
No, like people are gonna talk.
mm-hmm.
Like I haven't, like no one's necessarily said anything directly to me.
Didn't
Right.
give me
This is just something you
$50.
see on like the broad scope
Yeah,
of like
yeah,
the hip
yeah,
hop
100%.
community.
Yeah, like
Sure.
do you guys know Six Buzz?
No.
So it's basically it's a world star of Toronto for Toronto,
Okay.
and
Uh-oh.
word.
So is it toxic or is it?
Oh, it's 100%.
Yeah.
100% toxic.
It's like
World
World Star, right? So
World
You don't
Star's
like it?
definitely not positive.
same.
Devin Flynn says it's trash.
Trash.
Chase
But the thing
from
with
the
that is
flag.
like
Hey.
Explain.
because like if you run an IG account with over fucking like with a large amount of followers on it,
Mhm.
you obviously want to get a lot of people talking in the comments. You want a lot of
You want consistent engagement.
yeah, you want a lot of engagement just so people keep coming back to your
Yeah.
fucking to your page or whatever.
Yeah.
So like 99.9% of the time, every time Six Buzz posts fucking a clip of a music video from a rapper from Toronto, in the description it'll be like, is this hot or is this garbage? You know, and it's like you're
Right from the horse's mouth.
right from the
it's
go,
already
and it's like,
destined to
is it
fail.
good? Is it?
Well,
you know
what
I
if
mean?
what if
Yeah,
what if
yeah.
okay, so sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
Sure.
Sorry, like I don't want to interrupt.
No, keep
so,
going,
like,
keep
go
going,
on.
keep going.
I was gonna say, like, do you think that's from the artist? I'm sorry, but I'm
Interrupt.
interrupt. Interrupt.
more.
Do you think it's from the artist? Sometimes it's from the artist's mouth, like asking for honest, like criticism to be like, okay, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing right? Because like I feel like if, like, let's say like Evan's released like some drum clips on his Instagram and he'll
Sure.
be like, what do you think about the speed? Hot or
Yeah.
not? Like, you know what I
Sure.
mean? Like that hot or not thing is a really good way to just get a good like yes
But
or
how many
no.
people are saying no to Evan?
I say
It's
it.
true. It's his followers, so he gets like 10%, and they're always his best friends who are fucking
So
with him.
so on something like Six Buzz, when someone's like, is this hot or is it not?
Yeah.
What do you think that kind of like provokes? Do you think that provokes like a way for people to be like, no, fuck this, like this is garbage, or what are you trying to, I guess, draw from that? When someone puts in the description, like, they
I
post,
just feel like you could term it like you could word it differently. Like you can just be like, what
Is
are your-
this
what are your-
dope or
what-
semi-dope?
What are
Is
your
this the
thoughts on
best
this?
or
like,
what?
Because at the end of the day, like, if I'm paying $300 for Six Buzz to put a clip of my music video up, I'm not necessarily.
You have to pay
Yeah, you
them
gotta
to put
pay.
that shit
Yeah,
up? You gotta
you're
pay for promo.
You're basically
Fuck
paying to
that,
get fucking
dude.
roasted. But regardless,
Some money to make money,
yes,
man.
yes. Thank you for bringing this up. But yeah, like if I'm paying $300 for Six Buzz to post a clip of my music video, like I'm not necessarily looking for
Opinions. You just want them to boost it.
Here, I make music.
Is that the
listen
kind
to my
of
shit?
engagement and attention that you want, though?
What do you mean?
Popularity.
Right.
No, I just want people.
Like
I'm trying to
don't
get my
don't
name
you
out.
don't you want
Yeah.
those fans and people to listen to your music and really appreciate it? Like, do you feel like when you're posting on Six Buzz, somebody's really like gonna check out your tune? I feel as if they're just gonna bomb in the comments and they're not gonna listen to shit and they're just gonna tell you that it's trash and they don't like it.
Okay.
No, I peep it. It's 30 seconds.
Yeah, you get a snippet of it. It's like it's not like the video is gonna start automatically regardless.
I guess, but Instagram doesn't even have the audio on by default.
Okay, true.
I don't know. I just feel like you could better market yourself on your own.
But Six Buzz, I think, is more of like a remainder demographic. If like, I think, well, maybe it's something to consider, because if it's like, if you're putting it in like there's like a culture, there's like a subculture
Sure.
in here,
Right.
but this is not my main audience. Like, you have YouTube, you have like all your streaming platforms, right? Like, this is kind of just like you said, like when you said you say certain like controversial things that aren't too offensive to like pull people in. Like, that's just the same kind of tactic. Like, you're paying $300 for somebody to boost your stuff on a website, so you want people to kind of be pulled in. And
I guess.
do you
I
want
just
those
feel
people
like
to take it at face value, because if they do like it for the beat or the lyrics or whatever, they'll choose to soak
yeah, but I
themselves
feel like
in.
unless if it doesn't come in with a fucking bloated, gained out 808 smash, they're just gonna like instantly just say they don't like
Hate
it.
it or
well, I think
Then that's not. Then fuck them.
yeah, it's good.
I
It's good.
get
It's
it,
good. It's
but now
good.
you're out $300.
Yeah, see now, like this, I don't want to get, I know this is gonna get a little
the
bit
beauty
deeper,
of it all, my friend.
but
I just feel like there's
Do you ever
better
feel like
avenues
sometimes-
to promote yourself.
like what?
definitely there's tons of avenues you can promote yourself online. Like, it's undeniable.
Like
but
what,
if
my
this is
friend?
one of them where you can kind of like, where it
Forums?
promotes like an
Where people
opinion,
actually
where
are
people can
looking
like
for-
openly hate and people can openly like appreciate it, because that's like YouTube in a nutshell,
Sure.
right? So do you feel like obviously it can get toxic, but do you also kind of feel like that polarity is good? Not good, but like it's just needed. Like sometimes you just need for people to kind of get their shit out, and because nowadays, like, you know, negative
Well, I feel
YouTube
like it
comments
gets
like don't really
toxic
have much of like a.
Well, you need
I have one
you need
example.
equal love
So
and
when,
equal
when
hate.
Mac Miller's Swimming released, the main forum that I browse is like a Reddit's hip hop heads all the time, which I think is like a pretty decent community for the most part. And Travis Scott's Astroworld released the same day, and everybody's in the comment section of that like, hell yeah, Astroworld's so fucking sick.
Astroworld sucks.
I'm reading thousands upon thousands of comments under Mac Miller's Swimming saying that it's trash and Astroworld's gonna crush the shit out of it, and it's just like, that's not really the case.
But
Like, it's a beautiful record, and a lot of people think it's a fantastic record.
Fuck yeah.
But just in the context of it being released the same day as something that blows the doors off your fucking Honda Civic, like that swayed the discussion, right?
Yeah.
But I think as an artist, you need equal love and equal hate.
Sure.
Oh, I agree. I'm,
like
I'm
you need
basically
people
saying
hating
that
you, 'cause
this
that's
kind
kind
of
of-
hate was unwarranted. People were hating on it because an opposing record came out that day.
They're meme hating.
They weren't hating it because they
Yeah.
listened to it. They were hating it 30 seconds after it released before they even listened to anything.
Much like Nickelback's Photograph.
Yeah, you got a
Yeah,
problem,
exactly,
dude.
Exactly, Patrick.
Perfect
you know all
example.
about that.
But kind of going back to like what you're saying is like
Yes.
now having like an online, you know, comment-based culture. Oh my god.
Oh, what?
Can you say that again, please?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I just had to get my.
As-
I had to get my jitters
But
out.
with going back to like an online open opinion culture, like, do you think now that we've kind of, you know, talked for a few minutes about there's a toxic culture, there's a supportive culture,
Sure.
them two mixed together, you know, now there's this, the opinions have been said about how maybe sometimes it's necessary, sometimes it's not necessary. Do you think it should be moderated, or do you
Nah.
think so? Like,
Never
because
moderate
so now
anything, dude.
so now with you saying that it shouldn't be moderated, now you going back to saying like the hip hop community is become more toxic. How do
Sure.
you think we like push back on
Okay,
that?
if you don't like it, just don't say anything.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah,
I
you
feel
like-
that. There's tons of
Super simple.
releases that I listen to, and I'm just like pretty mad, or
Yeah.
I don't like them at all. And I've never said a word other than to my peers
Sure.
when I'm discussing a record,
Sure.
like when we're sitting down and we go, "Oh, this came out this week. Did you like it?" No, I didn't really like it. This is why.
Sure.
Like, I'm not going out of my way to shit talk a record.
No.
Because
Yeah.
the thing is, the ecosystem that the little dudes like you live in, chances are you're gonna see that comment.
Oh, 100%.
And I don't want to fucking do that to an
Yeah.
artist. Like,
Sure.
I know what it's like to make yourself vulnerable, and you put something out there,
Right.
Yeah.
and somebody just says it's diarrhea
Yeah.
dog shit for the sake of
But I
saying
kind,
that it's
but I kind of
diarrhea
need
dog
those
shit.
comments though.
And
No,
it's even,
you don't.
and it's-
I do, but I do
Yeah,
because
some
it kind of
people-
pushes
some-
me. But
Patrick,
it kind of pushes me when I
you-
get shitty comments
Yeah,
like
some
that.
people-
Fuck off, dude.
Seriously,
You
when I get
put those
shit comments-
you say those comments to yourself. Like, you
No,
listen to
but
your
like
own-
when somebody
your-
leaves that on my shit, I'm just like, that's true. I didn't like that part about it.
That's
that was pretty
constructive,
fucking.
though. You can be
No,
constructive.
like I've had
and
people
there's-
say that. Yeah, like I've had the worst shit written to me. I'm just like, okay, well, I fucked that up.
Yeah, I'm gay.
So I don't know if sexuality
Yeah.
has anything to do
The
with this.
thing is-
I'm not gay, by the way. Not that that's a problem. I'm just saying.
no, but
You've
there's-
dug me into a stupid
Sorry.
hole right now, my friend.
There's a difference between like constructive negativity and somebody
And
just
toxic
being
negativity.
a dickhead.
Exactly.
yeah, toxic
Yo,
negativity.
But
Just like-
sometimes you
there's
just
a-
need somebody being a fucking dick.
Like, I
No,
agree.
you
like,
don't.
Let's
Let's
Yeah.
just let Adam get his
It's
point
like
out.
you
He's
get
been.
out of there.
Adam's been.
No.
There's a clear difference
yeah.
because there's a Ricky Gervais joke about this. It's like some people on the internet are the type of people who look at a bulletin board that says guitar lessons. Here's a number you call, and they rip it off and they call it and they go, I don't fucking want guitar lessons. like some people are just like that.
Yeah.
You got to ignore those people because
Yeah.
they will comment on your
Sure.
shit.
But I think
It's like it's not for you.
Yo,
Why
I-
would you comment
I
on
totally
this?
agree.
Yeah,
but if,
yeah,
I think
right.
when
So,
when you're kind of
those
touching
people
based on
out.
what you're saying with constructive like negativity, I know it's
just
kind of
fixing it.
weird. Those are two words that are weirdly paired together. But I think what you're trying to say, and you're trying to say, does have a relative point, which is like he's not taking all the negativity that he sees and like, you know, trying to improve himself with it. If he sees something that's more detailed, like, oh yeah, the mix is terrible, he might have might agree that like, oh,
Right, okay,
yeah, I
well, you
didn't
have
take
to
the time to do
specify
that.
that.
Mix.
You made it sound like
I
when
listen
you read
to
a
all the
comment that says,
hate.
I hate Patrick and I hate this music that you're reading.
I get that a lot,
going,
actually.
Yeah,
face
you're
is
right. I do
stupid.
hate
Yeah, I
Patrick,
get that
and
too.
I also hate Patrick's music.
Could you make
Yeah.
his face less dumb?
Oh, no,
Are we
I
reading
would-
these off my page or something? What is going on right now?
I'm just trying to build on these points here.
No, I'm right there
Because like,
with you. I'm
because
right
like
there
I
with you,
think
but I think it's important to specify on what kind of negative comments you receive.
Nah,
If it's
Patrick,
a
I think you should
personal
just read all the
attack,
hate
then
and
it's
fucking
obviously
hate it all.
bullshit, and you ignore those.
Right.
Yeah.
Right,
Like
right.
if it's a bunch of fucking shit emojis, like what do I take
Yeah.
from that? Like what
Nothing,
am I
because
You
that
can-
comment
there's-
is nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Like comments like that are like dismissible. You're like, well, fuck that. Like that's not worth. But if someone's
Or
like,
is it?
hey, like vocals sound a little quiet, you're like,
Sure,
okay,
sure,
good to know.
yeah, yeah.
Like you know what I mean? Like,
Hey, fix
like
your
sure
fucking
you can,
ears.
you can kind of like you can let it like hit you a bit. You're like, oh fuck, like now you're gonna let that. Yeah, you're gonna let for the people who aren't watching. I'm like,
put out sucks,
yeah, because then you'll obviously have that.
It makes
you'll,
the next thing
You'll
better.
feel that bit of insecurity when someone says,
Word.
if the vocals are too quiet or the beat's too loud or the beat's too quiet, you'll feel that and you'll let that weigh on you where you'll have that thought of, oh, does this suck? But you wake up the next day, you're like, okay, I'm gonna make the next track with the vocals louder or quieter.
Sure.
And you think
Nothing,
that's
I'm
kind of
done.
more constructive criticism. If someone, like you said, is giving you a bunch of shit emojis, then fuck that, I'm not gonna answer them. Or you can take the high road and send them a thumbs up if you want to give them your attention. But
yeah.
that just is there so let's
thumb your shit.
let's get this out of the way a little
Sure.
bit. You said you got a few things off your back you
Yeah,
wanted
drop
to,
some more.
you got
Want some
any
more
other
shit?
truth bombs you wanna
Stuff.
lay down?
Yeah, I got some more shit.
Yeah, what's the next thing?
Okay,
Shit on us, dude.
Yeah.
word. Being like a local musician or whatever,
Mhm.
and like trying to get my name out. Like, sure, I can promote myself through companies on the internet, whatever. There's a lot of avenues, but at the same time, I also need the support of my peers. You know what I mean? Regardless of if you make music or you don't make music. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
This shit fucking grinds my gears, even though it shouldn't. Like I don't make music to receive fucking acceptance
Poop emojis?
or fucking like I'm not looking for validation or whatever.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like if I release something, I kind of want people to share it just so like my stuff gets heard by your followers, my stuff gets heard by your followers. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So what have you been experiencing recently that's not been
Dude, like
satisfying you?
okay, I know some of my closest friends are listening right now.
Dude, fucking lay it on
I
'em.
love you guys, but like, dude, nobody posts my stuff. You know what I
Shit,
mean?
guys, yo. And you know what? I'm
You know
included
what
in that.
drives-
I'm included in that. I'm included in that.
No, but for
I'm
real though,
included in
like
that.
Social media
I
guy,
just
but I'm in
I
there.
don't think these people are in the mindset where they go like, oh, Nick posted on the internet. It's clearly making its rounds. I don't have to do anything.
Because
He's
The
on
thing-
Spotify.
The shit that drive, yeah, exactly.
Sure.
I just don't think they're in that mindset that we are. Like,
I'm in
I
the
always
same-
try to engage with your music,
Sure.
and your music, and whoever puts out tunes, because like I get it, and I try to share it around if it's something that I dig. I just think there's a lot of people out there that just kind of think that it magically like makes
Gets
it
out
out
there?
to people. They
That's
don't.
fair.
They don't really understand. The
I think
process.
also with the
But
the
I
way-
think it's important that you bring it up so they do understand. the
dude,
process,
super
right?
super important point though. Like you're saying, like with someone trying to be on the come up and having none of your peers, like the people that have stuck by your side for
Word.
so long, and have them not to do that. Not to say that they're doing it intentionally, but it's
Sure.
just like, hey, like I'm using this as like, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm using it as a business tool. Like I need to boost it. But some people use social media as like a very personal thing. It's like, hey, here's
Sure.
me in this outfit. Here's me doing this thing. So,
But that's no different.
but
That's
yeah,
no
I
different.
know. But in their mind, it's not business. They're not like, I'm trying to sell something here.
Right.
So when they just do that, that's like their whole. That's how they wrap their head around
Yeah,
that. It's like someone's apartment, like that. Some people use it as their home, and some people have it as like a business place where they like, cut people's hair in there, that kind of way. So some people don't see it as that. So I've been thinking about that because I come from such a similar spot. Well, Adam and I come from a similar spot where we'll post something new and people won't really boost it that much. Some people will, and you're like, this is like, thank you, but you're like, come on.
It's
So at
hard
what
to
point do you
it's
get
the
new
usual
friends?
folk,
Yeah,
too.
it's
like
the-
you
it's
see
the
like the
usual
same
folk.
3, 4, 5 people like sharing your post, and you're like, does nobody else like what I'm doing? Like,
Yeah.
as much as I'm doing this
Just get
sorry, I'm sort of like
No, go,
speaking
go.
for the collective unconscious
No, it's
here.
good.
But where you go like
I'm conscious,
I'm
dude.
doing
I'm
this
woke.
for myself, but I'm also doing this for you guys
Yeah,
to
no
like
doubt.
have like an artistic project
But
to listen to.
but who
right?
says that they enjoy that kind of music?
Yeah, I
You're
think
kind of
it's
just like
maybe,
jamming it down their throat, and they might not even like that
and
style of
maybe
music.
maybe
I don't
maybe
even think they get to the point where they listen to it. To
Well,
be
then
totally honest.
maybe
Then
it's
get
maybe it's
some
best to
fucking
do
new buddies.
if you're hoping for that like kind of reach like amongst your friends on a larger scale. I'm like speaking on the same level, so maybe it's time that we kind of do more of that weird like, hey, send a message to like your friends and be like, hey, look, I'm trying to boost this.
Sure.
Like I know Instagram's not like this thing for you guys, but if you guys could really share it, that would mean the world to me.
Sure.
Because maybe sometimes it takes them hearing that in that way and kind of thinking, oh, I never thought of it that way, and then being like, oh shit, like, and
So
then
this is an
like
actual
even they might
person.
feel, not to say that they should feel, I'm just saying like, it's just it's just sometimes people might be unaware of like what or how you're using the platform that they use for different reasons, and it's like, hey, I use it in this way, can you just flick that on for a second, and then you
Sure.
can dial it back into your personal life.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've been thinking about that. I'm like, why are people like, why are my own peers not engaging? They're liking all my photos and all this kind of stuff, but they don't share my shit. Like, how do I get that out of them without sounding too salesman-y?
Sure.
But at the same time, if it's just not happening, like maybe it just takes that kind of like, hey, I'm doing this. It'd be really cool if you guys do this. If not, because sometimes it takes
the post
that
I put up where I say at the end like, hey, it would help a shit.
Oh, I'm talking about sliding in the DMs.
Yeah, I think you got to send
I'm
like
talking
personal
about-
messages and get like.
Yeah, I'm talking
'Cause
about
people
like
get
getting
so
a little
disconnected
more.
when they get
yeah,
online.
exactly.
I was gonna say like,
Yeah.
there's a certain post I've made specifically for this podcast where I go, hey, just so you guys know, like sharing this does help a fucking ton.
See, the
And it
trick
gets
is
way
doing
more
it at
shares.
the.
Like,
the DM
sometimes
though.
just asking.
Yeah,
should
'cause
try
sometimes
doing
people
it at the
scroll past
start.
and they're like, "Oh, Ape audio post," and then some people will just honestly scroll past and they won't even bother reading the description because they have to expand and see more in the description. If you DM them like, "Oh, I got a message from this. What is this?" and it's like, "Hey, we are."
Well, I think it's
And
also
then it's
important
like-
to make like I think kind of what we're trying to do and what we've been doing for a couple weeks now, or more than a couple weeks now, is like build a network of local artists. Doesn't matter what genre you're working with, like you're like-minded people, right?
Maybe country. I don't know.
What'd you say?
What?
Huh?
Nothing.
I have no idea what's going on.
Jeepers
But
Crambus
trying to build a
up in here.
network of like-minded people,
Sure.
and you can all support each other. Like everybody we've had on is like, yo, I listen to all types of music. I like all types of music.
Yeah.
And they end up watching an episode and like listening to a guest that we've had on a previous week or the week following or something like that, right? I think it's important to kind of at this point in social media's life, like we have to start building our own networks because Facebook is sort of taking those tools away from you,
Yeah,
right?
it's becoming less about the organic reach and just
Yeah,
more
it goes
about, like,
give
what
us $10
you-
and we'll push it out to the people
Yeah.
you want it to go to, and that's just not feasible for little dudes like
Yeah,
us,
no doubt.
right?
But-
like I don't have fucking
Dude,
money
we're
to
big
dump into
time.
this shit
Fuck
every day.
that,
Yo,
man.
people are willing to pay for the person these days, which is cool. through
Patreon.
Yeah,
Us
I was just
Colby
gonna say
Persons.
Patreon and shit. Like if people see you enough, they see videos of you, they see you
Yeah.
talking, they see a bit of your life, they see your process.
It's
and
also
kind of
that.
shit.
It's that.
They're like, you know what? I will give this person $5 a month.
It's that consistent
Indefinitely,
projection
because
that you
I want
have.
to keep seeing what they're making. I want to see their process. I want to just sort of like.
But you have to
It's such a
consistently
cool
project,
concept.
right?
Like, people are willing to do that.
But
yeah,
are they paying for the
It is a lot of
person?
work to build that fan base, but like, if you're willing to sort of share that element of yourself and be really real with people in your music and in your process, and just be like, this is what I make, this is how I do it. People are like, fuck yeah, I want to support this. I want to make sure this guy has the money to do what he wants to do. Then
Yeah.
you know, but you know, that's a lot of work, but it's an avenue that exists, which is really cool because like people can just be like, I love this person, I want them to make things.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah,
But
have
at the
my
cost-
monies.
you
know?
have to make things consistently in order for people to like want to pay you that consistent amount. It's like a trade-off, right? Like I'll give you a consistent amount of money if you can give me a consistent amount of content. So there's this
Unless you're
discipline thing.
Tool, if
Yeah.
Tool had a Patreon,
A
dude,
bunch of tools.
dude,
Yeah.
people would pay $50 a month.
They were selling blankets for
years.
like $500.
Yeah.
And,
But you know,
if
of old
you're
t-shirts.
known for not really putting too many things out, but your things being great, people might be willing to pay a bit
I
more.
agree, and I think
But
kind of going back
As a
though,
whole weird model.
You gotta
it is-
release
it
a
is
bunch of
whole-
shit for
It is
free.
a whole weird model,
quite
but kind of scaling back to like us on like the starting point,
Who are we?
friends,
Friends,
share the
families,
shit,
and
go
lovers.
to more shows, just
And, like-
support the artist.
And, like I read a tweet maybe a year ago or whatever, and it was like, oh, like people are so quick to like retweet, oh, like about like, oh, Kim K's having a new baby, or like Apple's releasing new AirPods, or like some irrelevant bullshit that has nothing to do with your life, but like you can't retweet like a homie's fucking SoundCloud.
Yeah,
bit,
dude.
you know what I mean?
I was
It's
gonna
like,
bring this
Yeah.
up. I was gonna
That-
say you
that's
see
what
so
needs the
often
attention.
people post or like retweeting or sharing like these incredibly vapid, like unimportant,
right.
really things. Like it's doing nothing for your community. You're supporting a giant like globalist capitalist garbage society.
People see
And
the number of
you could
retweets,
make
and they have
Somebody's
to be included.
fucking day. You could make somebody's week
Real talk.
by just sharing their song
Real
that they
talk.
put out, their poetry they put out, their artwork that they put out, their what. If somebody's fucking whittling like little hash pipes or some shit, you share that shit. It's gonna make their fucking day, man.
Okay,
and sharing Apple's shit or a video of a fucking dog vomiting or like whatever, like
What do
the
you have
fucking
against
hot
that,
meme
man?
of the week, it does nothing.
Wait, okay, here's a question though. Like, why does one person feel obligated to retweet something that Apple puts out, and they feel kind of like not necessarily afraid, but like
Because other people
I have the
do
answer
it.
to that.
Other
Exactly.
people do it.
Cult
It's
of
also
personality.
It's the
Cult of
number
personality.
It's the number of other retweets because
Or just what
they,
they're
they've done
interested
some
in.
like they've
People
done
go. Oh, this influencer is sharing these new
Influencers?
influencers. In-
Wow.
yeah, it's like
They're
this number is
sharing this
really
thing.
high. It must be correct.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna share this,
Like-
but then
But like
when,
if you see
when
if
Nicky
you see
Columbus
two
puts out
retweets,
music,
you see two and you're like, oh well, maybe it's sketchy. Maybe I don't want to be the person. Who retweets.
exactly.
But
Yeah,
if you see 900,000, you're like, well, fuck yeah, this must be great.
yeah,
And like,
yeah, man.
Everyone's
it's
become
a
their own
psychological
like.
trick.
It's like how
Everyone-
you recommend movies.
And that's how you get malware.
Recommend them on my own personal opinions.
But seriously, on just go to more shows, share the posts, support the music.
Subscribe
Everyone's
to
trying to
the
be on the come up.
channels.
Exactly.
So
word.
That's the
just
thing.
like
Everyone
just
has
do
to
it. Like
have a-
I mean, people who
some-
are listening, like it means a lot more than you think. Like you're literally only like a couple thumb gestures away from really sharing someone's shit, and
Are we
like
fucking
to
friends
you
or
it's gonna
not?
be gone in 24 hours, but to us it's gonna be a memory that lasts fucking
Right.
a couple days at the least. So
And I mean, most
Yeah.
like individuals are probably only like 15 people removed from reaching the entire planet fucking Earth.
Planet fucking Earth?
Yes, planet fucking Earth.
Not
dude.
sure I'm
Like,
familiar with
it
that
does
one.
not take that much
I am.
sharing and mingling of content
I was
for you
born
to
there.
like really spread around the globe
it's true.
as much
But-
as people would like to think it does.
I think it's because how easy it is for people now to like share stuff. It's just like kind of on the back burner of their mind. Whereas
Sure.
before, like if you, let's say when the days, I'm talking early on here when you only had CDs and tapes.
And you're handing
The
it to
only
them.
way people could share the music, it was like, hey, I'm gonna put this on. Do you mind if I put this in your car?
Yeah.
Like I want to show you this cool band. And then there
Word.
was more of a, I forget who was saying it, but there's more of like a romantic element to like having the physical copy of the music and you sharing it with somebody, you listening to it and then like shutting
Well,
the
yeah.
fuck up about it and like listening like about
Yeah,
like,
CDs
the
back in
music
the-
with
back at
people.
Res.
Yeah, back in high school.
Yeah.
I've told these guys
Or-
before. You
I-
used to
I
go
still
around and
have
like
one
check
of
out
yours.
fucking mixtapes,
Yeah.
and if somebody messaged you and was like, "Yo, can I get one?" You're like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, I'll
Fun-
make you one tonight, and I'll bring it in tomorrow." And
So
like,
sick.
it's weird, but there was more quote unquote like engagement
Dude,
with you just handing them out.
I don't
right?
think I'll ever fucking forget this. I gave I think Stellar Spider to Denny. Fucking Denny, guys.
Shout out,
Denny.
Mr.
Shout out
G.
Denny.
Go
guys.
Denny.
And then like a couple of hours later, fucking he sends me a picture of like a bunch of weed just busted on the cover. And he's like,
That's hilarious.
yo, that shit
Christ.
killed me, guys.
That's
yeah, that was
awesome.
good.
I hope Denny turns into Joey Diaz the older he gets.
Yeah.
You listen to me, Joe Rogan.
So with like now that it's another thing we've touched base on, like now
Sure.
the community, it's like at face value or at the kind of
Low end.
at the low end
Sure.
being you know, kind of encouraging everybody to be a little bit more supportive because
Fucking guy.
Joey Diaz is like,
Oh my.
how did that?
Just put him in the background so people know what we're talking about.
Jesus Christ.
Mercy.
I've been to the nicest prisons in New York City.
Let me fucking tell you, Nicky.
Boulder.
I fucking see some shit. But so now that we've kind of touched base on
Yeah.
that, like, is there any like other, you know, things that you kind of want to address? Because I mean, if there's a lot, like, get them out as much as you can. I'm down to like build on. I think we all are down to kind of
Sure.
like, build
I
on
wish
these
we would have
points.
started with this because I love
Yeah.
like really getting into these
Right.
kinds of topics.
I mean, a more technical kind of thing is like mixing is something that I'm not necessarily too fond of.
Okay.
But at the same time, being a creator, it's so hard to tell someone else how you want something to sound, if that kind of makes sense. Like, I've paid mixers before, like no more than like fucking like $30 or whatever, but still it's like I paid someone $20. Hey, can you mix this? I want it to sound like this. They send it back and it's not like this, and it's kind of like I sometimes feel bad being like, hey, can you redo it?
I'll
Well, you should
interject.
talk to Ian.
I'll interject because as someone who's kind of trying to get into like the back and forth of like production versus like creator or producer versus creator, it's just
Need
what
that.
mix notes are. So like if you say something back, like that's what they need.
Okay.
Yeah,
you know, they
need
need
that
that. So
feedback.
for you to say it's too much this, it's too little this, not enough this, they need that, and
Okay.
they like. Everyone's open to like
Yeah,
you
grow together.
sending- yeah, exactly. Like you grow together, you learn.
Right.
So, like if you just say it's too much this, or if they send it, you know, they send it back to you and they're like, what about this? And you're like, oh, this is good, but now this is too much or too little. Like that's what mixed notes are. So that back and forth is like totally encouraged. So
Okay.
if you ever, because I know it's like kind of a weird thing, because like you don't want to feel like, because that's their it feels almost as personal to them as it
Exactly.
does to you, or at least you might kind of try to catch that vibe. So if you're thinking like, oh, you know, they
They're
might have
your
worked.
employee. Tell them
Yeah.
what to do.
Exactly. That's another thing too. Is like they're the engineer, right? They're producers, so they're making the product. So if you're like the guy that's kind of watching over the production line, being like, oh, this needs to be a little bit in whatever way that you prefer, like it's totally encouraged. So unless have you run into those moments where maybe you've said, hey, it's too bassy or something, and someone's
Right.
like, no, it's fine, and you're like, oh,
Nah.
well.
I'm never working with you again.
Oh, exactly. I would have thought of that. I've been like, oh shit, if you're right, is that?
No, but like at times, like
Not.
sometimes I might not necessarily know what I want to say. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Your
I-
musical
like-
adjectives, your
yeah,
musical
like,
like
I-
adjective vocabulary.
yeah, it's not there.
It's hard to describe. I don't really like it. you
Yeah.
know? Like if you don't know why you don't like
Yeah.
it, yeah, it's tough because it's just like it sounds too circusy, and they're like, "What the fuck do I do with that?"
Well, circusy. See, in
What?
my mind, I already think about it. I'm like, well, that's chromatic because
True.
yeah. So I'm like thinking,
Less
okay,
chromatic.
yeah, less chromatic. But see, that's
but like you know, people. It sounds too purple. You know, make it a bit more blue.
sure. I'll just
you know.
Make it a little bit
develop
more depressing
synesthesia
then.
for a second.
Sure.
Hey,
But
look
like,
at that.
yeah, it's tough to like articulate those
Right.
criticisms, and especially
Yeah.
without sounding like a dick. That's the worst part. Is that you're always afraid you're gonna sound like a dick. Oh,
Is that why you
Something-
don't text us back, Adam?
no.
Yeah, somebody's been missing from the group chat for the last 3
I
months.
sent you one meme today.
Yeah. Good morning.
That's worth it. Like when Adam sends me a meme, I feel so appreciative, especially since he's been since you just got on the gift sending train. So whenever you send me,
He
gifts,
just got
I'm
on
like,
the iPhone
yes,
train.
This
You have an iPhone?
is
It's my girlfriend's. You want to see?
yo.
Yo,
Adam,
it
actually,
is
no more
sick.
Blackberry?
do you
Left
mind? Do you mind
shark.
giving it a bit
Oh
of a?
my
do you mind giving it a bit of a display?
This is my left shark case.
Adam,
Yo,
you can,
give that a
you
zoom
can-
in right there.
where-
Evan
yeah.
insists that this is a football case, but I insist that it's a Katy Perry case.
I think it's a shark.
It's pretty fascinating.
I think you're a shart.
Can you
I-
imagine?
I think you're Shartleton.
Can you imagine what future civilizations are gonna think? When
That
they-
was
they
not that
unearth this?
good.
No, it's perfect. It's perfect. It was
I
everything
think
we
you're a
wanted
shark.
today.
I'm pretty sure we're talking about future civilizations.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can you guys imagine what future civilizations are gonna think when they unearth this ungodly piece of technology from the dirt?
You'd be like, wow, this guy was a
fuck.
dude.
These guys love sharks, man.
Wow, this guy shreds at Words with Friends.
No, they'll
I
probably say
dunk on people every day. Okay, This is not about my phone, though. How did this come up?
Oh, it's because
bastards.
I don't even remember.
Something. Oh yeah, because I sent the first meme ever. In this
Oh yeah,
thing.
because you can.
And
send
I
gifts
made
now.
sure
Invented
that it
memes?
was a meme that made no sense.
I didn't even
I got
fucking read it.
There's a subreddit called the Chinese bootleg memes, and it's like poorly
Load it up,
translated
load it up.
memes.
Dude, that was the
And,
longest thing
the
I've
view.
ever, like the longest picture.
Did you read it?
I couldn't.
It's like a parody of like a Turning Point USA dumbass conservative like propaganda poster, but with the guy from Star Wars with Senator Palpatine. And it makes no sense. It's complete dog shit. And I made sure that would be the only thing I ever send to your meme chat.
So should we kick you out?
Yeah,
then?
no, that's my only contribution. You're done now. Anyway, you were talking about social media, and at some point you're like, you posted a meme, and thus off the rails we went.
This is
Into
what that,
a-
those
into
are those
a-
ebbs and flows
into
where you just
degeneracy.
get in that conversation.
Hit me with one of these hot memes.
Yeah, one of these Chinese bootleg memes.
Yeah, there's one right
Yeah,
there.
there's one right there.
Disney issuing an apology for not including a certain fan favorite in the next Star Wars film. True regret we has been having no the.
Oh man, what is this?
When you learn Leia's true allegiance and know only one person can stop her. Kill her people. The Milky Way recovery is the.
Oh my god,
Shit,
this
dude.
is totally arbitrary.
Yeah, well, it's apparently some of them
Wait,
are
why is it all
actual
Star Wars?
subtitles.
Yeah, is it
Just
all
Star
just
Wars.
Star?
Because you remember how like there's that old meme of Darth Vader like going no, and it
Yeah.
says "do not want."
Yeah.
It's because it's like a weird
Oh.
Chinese subtitle. So that's
Okay,
what this
okay,
whole
okay.
subreddit is.
This is a good.
I didn't even know the origin of that.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Do not want.
This
God
is perfect.
damn it.
What is this?
When your prequel meme gets one upvote. Thanks for caring.
Aw, little
I
dry.
hate
That has less than 1K upvotes.
Wow.
All right, boys, let's get out of this disease pit.
Oh, okay.
Do you guys have firing round questions for
Pretty sure the one
Mr.
I posted is way less
Mr.
than that.
Columbus?
I do.
Hit me with your best shot.
Are you aware of the firing round?
No, what's good?
It's pretty simple.
Okay.
Basically, I'm just gonna name a bunch of random words, and you just basically tell me the first thing that comes to your head.
Could
be
be
first
anything.
Oh, the first
First-
thing that comes to my
Yeah,
head.
the first thing that comes to your head.
Okay,
And yeah, just let me know when you're ready.
I'm
Ready.
ready.
Skates.
I have one additional one.
Pizza.
Yeah,
Two.
yeah.
Pleep.
Okay. So I'll start now.
Okay,
SoundCloud Premium.
I don't use it.
Artists who use the first name.
Lil.
Worst concert.
Mine.
Oh, Craft.
808 hi-hats.
Dope.
Big Music Fest.
I'd go.
Favorite local artist.
Danger Liquor.
Aw.
Yeah. Ain't nobody's is that.
That's a free mix for you.
Yep.
Six Buzz.
Toxic.
And I think that's it. Yeah, that's all the ones I had remembered. I can probably look.
Okay.
Your boy Drizzy.
Goat. Can we have a conversation about Drake real quick?
Yeah, let's
Yeah,
do it.
yeah. What's
Yes.
up? What's up? Let's go.
He's got to stop macking on 16-year-olds.
That number's a bit,
Shade.
number's a bit high. But
Patrick
hey,
came with one in the chamber.
That number's a bit generous, by the way.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, what's up? What do you want to talk
Okay,
about?
besides that though,
I'm gonna let you know
Yeah.
I've come around a little bit
On what?
on Drake.
Scorpion was
I
dope.
thought you were a fan.
He's all right.
No, shut up.
Kind of
man.
lost it on Scorpion.
He's
I
more
think
than all right.
He's just all right, dude.
Okay, who's better than Drake right now?
What? Wait, what?
That's devil's ad. That's a Mr. Aiken. I just threw it out there.
Are we?
See,
In what context?
Yeah, yeah, like so. What? Wait,
Okay,
so wait,
yeah.
let's start off with
Oh,
what
yeah,
defines him as the GOAT for you, because that's it's
Nah, we're not starting with me.
all right.
okay.
I don't-
Well,
'cause-
I'll preface this with I'm more partial to heavily conscious rap. I like really deep.
You like
Okay.
the woke stuff?
Yeah, Yeah,
Ah,
let's say I'm a
Go
woke boy.
Okay.
Woke.
You know,
That's Yoki.
I like to
Go.
be a little bit thought
Hi.
provoking.
Sure.
I'm more partial to like the East Coast like boom bap scene
Okay.
from like
What?
the early to like mid 90s
Sure.
and kind of like the resurgence that's happening right now. I think that's why it took me so long to come around to Drake's music, which is heavily pop influenced.
Sure.
There was a long time when I tended to stray away from pop music just because a lot of it was not great for a long time.
Okay.
Pop's kind of like doing really well right now. I think it's really healthy right now. I think for a long time it was just not cool.
Fair
So
enough.
I didn't listen to it. And
Okay.
I think that's why I didn't listen to Drake for a long time.
Sure.
Now that said, in maybe the past 4 or 5 years, I've started to come around. I don't like all of his music.
Sure.
I do appreciate what he does.
Sure.
I think he is a huge figurehead for the hip hop community, and I think he's changed the way people make hip hop forever.
Scorpion was too long.
True.
Agreed.
Too many
really
fucking
sound
songs.
Nick, what do you
Too many
think,
fucking songs.
Like, since you wanted to talk about it,
Sure. Well, I think the biggest thing that you should kind of take away from Drake is like, first of all, his longevity. Like, he's been popping since
Yep.
when? 06?
A
08?
decade,
Yeah.
more than
Sure.
a decade now.
Okay, that's crazy.
I agree.
Two, I think his diversity, like the fact that he can.
I think it's
He can do this,
interesting.
he can do that, he can do this, and
the
he can do that.
sounds that Drake puts out becomes the mainstream sound for the
Sure.
next 2-3 years
Sure.
at a time. I think that's really cool.
But how much of it is actually his work?
True.
What do you mean by that? Like how much?
Like, he
like,
doesn't write
well, that
everything.
kind of goes for any.
Yeah. He does not write all his work.
Yeah, but that goes for a lot of artists, some of which you might even really like. Like, you don't
I don't
know
like anything.
who's behind the curtain, right?
hmm
Sure. Yeah.
That's what I'll. Yeah.
Like when the news broke about the ghostwriting stuff on if you're reading this, it's too late. Like that
It
kind of hurt
wasn't-
me.
It wasn't surprising to me,
Okay.
but that hurt you.
Yo, that hurt me for sure. I was like,
Yeah.
well, I'm not gonna just assume that he has fucking 100 writers behind his back, like helping him out.
See,
Like,
I come from the camp who was a huge Kanye fan for a long time,
Sure.
and it's always been known that Kanye had a lot of ghostwriters.
Sure.
Drake being one of those
Yeah.
those writers. So
Interesting. See, on the
those
flip
those
side.
acts that are at like a monolithic level, I don't expect them to be writing all their own material. There's no way you can put out.
Kendrick does.
He's different,
No.
and he might not write all
Yeah.
his own
You
material.
got to think
dude.
about it like the CEO of like a company. It's like, sure, the idea at first becomes theirs and they push it heavily for like the come up, but once they're there, like they need a team, and that team will be like innovation and like design and like, you know, research and development and like all this kind of stuff, and that might come
exactly.
through
And
into
I
the
mean,
music.
when you're at that
Yeah.
level,
But what is that?
when you're at that
Yes.
level, all it takes
don't
is
know.
one stupid misstep to just tarnish that reputation.
But what
right?
about? But if that
But it's you.
misstep can be
It
sometimes.
is you, but Drake's not just Drake. He's also OVO, and he's representing a ton of other artists,
yeah,
right? Just
That
like
doesn't mean he
Kanye
needs his
represents
lyrics
a ton
written
of other
for him.
artists on good music, and through his actions over the past couple of years, you've seen him sort of sully that reputation that he built for so
Yeah.
long, right? It doesn't take much. It just takes a couple stupid moves.
Say Kanye fucked up his reputation.
So wait, Nick, when you're saying that there's like, so you have to respect his diversity.
yeah.
Do you mean that with like every release he has, he's like trying to try something new, or do you mean like he's just every release he has, he's expanding onto like
Yeah,
new
he's
territory
expanding.
and
Like he's
accumulating that as
he's
a
using
whole?
new sounds. Like, name 2 albums by Drake that sound the same.
Can't. You're right.
Like every album you're gonna get something new. You're gonna get fucking because I know back when
I wish he would take more liberties with his vocal melodies. That's a big
Okay.
nitpick of mine.
What do you mean?
Like it sounds like it's like all his beats and like all his moods are changing.
Okay.
But when you hear like how he
Oh,
Drake as the voice
Sure,
like
sure,
sits
sure.
in that,
Yeah, yeah.
it seems
Oh.
like it's kind of
It's like
like
he
in
knows-
it's like
yeah,
it's
he
like
knows
not
his
growing
things.
as fast as the music is
Got
like
you.
yeah.
Fair enough. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
But
I
I
can
don't
see
know.
that. I see that.
That might not even be in his range. So that
Sure.
might just be me being
Yeah.
nitpicky and asking something that can't really be done. You know.
I remember when KMT came out off of More Life. A lot of people were saying how that flow, he took that flow from XXX, Look at Me Now,
Mhm.
or whatever.
Yeah.
And like you can hear it. Like I definitely think that he did get inspired by that. But the fact that like he was able to capitalize on it, he was able to make it sound fucking dope.
Is there anything wrong with taking a flow though?
Low biting?
I don't think there is. I think it's just
Depends if you make.
It depends.
Yeah,
that's
all
like
depends.
that's. Do you feel like that's a form of intellectual property as a flow? Because if there's
No, I
there's a
don't.
thing with some like so there's been a thing with like a lot of like musicians.
it's like a
in the
drum
past.
style or like
Well-
Like
a
melody as
guitar
well.
strumming style.
Yeah,
like
'cause if you think about
can
it in-
take a similar style and like build upon.
Yeah,
that.
because in the Western Hemisphere, we kind of are more based off of like 12 notes than like Eastern, which is kind of based more off of like microtones. There's more notes in the equation. So with 12 notes, you're the equation, the amount of probability of things kind of becoming similar, no matter like how diverse the melody. When you have 4 bars, like you're gonna stumble across two things that sound similar. It's been like that for a long time. Like if you think about like.
Fucking
got any examples,
we're talking a little bit of iambic tempameter, whatever the fuck
Iambic
that is.
pentameter.
Iambic pentameter.
Diane word? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, we're talking diantword pentameter.
Diana.
Of a little bit like what like a limerick is.
Yeah,
like that
I'm with you.
structure of like a rhyme.
Yep.
It's like that shit has been around forever. Like a sonnet, it's just it's fucking haiku.
It's
it's
an
just
outline.
like it's a little like here's a framework for you to be creative within.
Right.
And so
Yeah, I'm right there with
but
you.
but it there's a fine line between taking someone else's
You ever see
like
How many
or
rappers do
spinning
the
it.
stupid shit where they just go
The triplets.
Rapping in triplets like Migos.
Yeah.
Rapping in triplets like Migos.
Dude,
We
Migos-
can-
wrong.
we
Migos
can go
sounds
off
so-
about the
Oh,
triplet
yeah.
flow for days.
Listen,
because
Migos-
triplet flow,
and
I-
the Scotch snaps.
although yeah, the Scotch snaps.
Migos
It's
sounds like
not
Bigos,
wrong that
and that's a
multiple
Polish
artists
dish.
do that.
It's called
I think
hunter
it's wrong
stew.
that it's
There's a
an
hunter stew.
oversaturated area.
It's
That's-
all about how you
You
use
need
it.
to-
It's like a
exactly.
pinch harmonic.
We're
Yes.
going
Yes.
we're
Or
going
going-
back to the
or-
we're going
or-
back to the first point of our conversation.
Where's this conversation
which is,
gone?
It's not good that you exploit that, but the ones that started it will transcend time. The ones that started that kind of like that technique, like the whole rapping in triplets, like Migos, like you just said,
Bigos.
that will eventually die. But the artists that
Yummy.
kind of pioneered that are gonna still stick with that, and people are just gonna kind of like latch on to like that bit, mainly for nostalgia reasons, but also because it
worked.
just kind of.
It
But
worked.
referencing it artfully will always be cool.
Yeah.
Just like to
Yeah.
insert it into something else that's sort of beautiful in its own right, and just be like,
I think on
I'm gonna just make a little,
Eminem's
you know.
Kamikaze when he joked about all the rappers rapping in that cadence and in that style. I think that was really funny, even though he rapped that way for it.
Yeah,
It was
exactly,
for
yeah.
like comedic effect almost.
Yeah.
Like clearly it's hit meme status.
Yeah, it's
like
done
it's pretty
well,
legendary
yeah.
that people rapped like that for the past 2 years, and it needs to die quickly.
Yeah, and I think right now we're experiencing that kind of wave of like, what people want to, how people want to start rapping. Like, they want to start rapping in triplets, but when was rapping in triplets encouraged? Never. Now it is. It'll die off eventually, but then people will learn to not use it as like a trendy like outfit for their music, but more as like a tool. Like, okay,
Yeah.
I'll like
it's an
turn this a little
accessory.
bit here whenever I need it. Because think about how sick it's going to be in like 5 years when rapping in triplets stops being trendy, and you kind of hear it like
5 years.
one or whatever 10 years.
Use
Hopefully
like
1 year.
profoundly.
But like
Jesus
like when you hear
Christ.
like more mixed styles, and then like you hear it on the one song on their album, you're like, yo, like they
Yeah.
used it like sick. Like, it's like when you hear like a pinch harmonic using
I was gonna
like,
say,
music.
or that there's this thing on guitar where
Yeah.
people just rake the harmonics, go, "Room," and it's the most overused thing. But like every once in a while, you hear it used perfectly, like just before this huge fucking drop, and it's just like, oh,
Yeah.
that's the most generic thing. But they punched me in the throat with it.
It's like in
Oh.
in Blood Eagle by Periphery.
Oh my God,
when
they
it comes
use
in
it
before
so
the last
well.
chorus. Yeah. When it goes,
Jesus.
"We
But
come
like,
for-"
if you were to hear some person use it like stupidly, just like, oh, it's that stupid generic trick everyone uses, But like,
Like
if
in
you use
Forward
it in
Mail.
a way where it just
I think it sounds good in
bangs, like,
forward.
I was just
Straight.
kidding.
those little things, those little tropes, those little cultural touchstones, those little things people pick up on. They're really useful. But like
Yeah.
you have to spin them in a way where it's not like you're just using it lazily, I guess.
I think it just takes a society like exploiting the shit out of it and kind of letting itself burn out on that, and then the
Yeah,
people who choose
that's true.
to be ballsy enough to use it later
Yeah.
on, that's just kind of what
It's like, that guy
how
just-
influence comes from previous generations, and that's how history repeats itself, right? Like you're now noticing a lot in like well, hip hop's always used like, let's say, guitars like as like the real instrument besides drums. Like guitars, like 808s are a lot more used to kind of replicate like the real drum sound. You ever hear a real drum kit and it's like, oh, it kind of sounds more like old school, because like
Right.
you know, a lot of like trap based stuff now is very 808s. But I don't know, I think it's kind of cool like to kind of see what gets exploited, and then just kind of like seeing, like, you know, kind of, I think it's a cool like topic of conversation, like, you know, it helps
Exploitation?
us. Yeah, what
Sorry?
what'd you say?
Do you think it's weird that Drake passes out like a light after half a Xanax?
What?
Pussy shit.
Oh,
My opioid
15-hour
tolerance
flight
is much
out
higher.
like a light after half a Xanax.
He's got a couple buds that I'll do you for a Louis belt.
For a
Oh.
Louis belt? Is that a real thing?
That's
Is that a
all-
real
that's
piece
all-
of slang?
that's
What does
all-
that mean?
That's all his dog
Explain that for the listeners
Yeah,
who
yeah.
have no
Yeah, yeah.
fucking idea what that means.
Dude, like half the shit Drake says, like
I
I don't
guess not.
understand, but for some reason, like it just sounds
okay.
like I don't know.
Oh, dude.
I think it's he's referencing, I can get you killed for just the cost of a Louis belt.
Yeah,
Just
you
a
can make
belt,
things happen
just-
for a Louis
okay.
belt.
A
Word.
single piece of leather from St. Louis will get you dead.
That's kind of
Yeah,
scary
no,
to think
I'm
about.
right there with you. The man knows
You've
how
never been.
to speak and sing
Word.
and rap over a beat, probably any beat, and he'll fit in that pocket really nicely, and it's going to sound really catchy. The thing that trips me up with him, and I think in the past I've been overcritical of him, comparing him to other artists that I like a lot,
The children.
is
Jesus Christ.
I compare him to artists that are like super wordy and lyrical
Sure.
miracle.
Yeah,
when
yeah.
Drake is not
Easy there, fella.
he's not trying to appeal to that audience, and I have to like listen to him with a different set of ears
Well-
almost. And yeah, so I think we fought over Drake over
You-
the past couple
you
years.
definitely do have to listen to him with a different set of ears. Like I said, I think that's perfect when you're listening to more things that are leaning into kind of more the mainstream. Like
Yeah.
Drake's mainstream, whether or not you want to like agree with what the concept of mainstream is, he's leaning in towards that. Bands that, you know, we like lean more in towards that in their respective genres.
Right.
So you kind of have to realize that like whatever's mainstream, which is whatever it is, like it or hate it, like they're gonna fall into that because that's they're going through like the collective motions of what everybody else is. So they kind of have to like lean into that you know, high in fat, low in protein kind of
Yeah.
like thing, but then they also have like that protein where you kind of, you know, I'm trying to base this off of some Henry Rollins quote where he has on the weekends he has carbohydrate listening, where he listens to stuff he's listened to like for decades, and then throughout the week he has protein listening, where he listens to stuff he's never listened to, and it takes like focus to listen to and how to like it and stuff like that. So I feel like when you're in the mainstream, you kind of have to split it a little bit between the two. You kind of gotta give it a little bit of junk food, but you also kind of gotta give some like, oh, it's low in sugar or like low in whatever, and then, you know, you get a bit of like truth in it, and it kind of. So I think like
The
someone like
truth.
Drake, who's especially in the most mainstream out of like mostly anybody, is like what you said, putting like listening to it with a different set of ears. Like, don't listen to him and expect like the most profound stuff ever, but expect to listen to some well produced music by a good team. Listen to some, you know, like
yeah, man,
like
40.
Some hooks that grab you.
yeah,
Makes
some
it
hooks that
crazy.
grab you,
Crazy, bro.
whether or not you like it, and stuff that you can move to. Because
Yeah.
as much as like I'm more of like a deep listener, where I'll listen to music, and I'm like you and I, Patrick, have sat down and listened to music, and we think about like the lyrics and like what, you know, little moments they have. But, you know, when I go to like the club and stuff, like it's such a weird thing because it's totally reactive than it is like active listening. And that's another thing you have to consider too, is just like how it makes you feel on like a
Emotional
primal level.
Yeah.
Like, how are the drums interacting, and how is it making you like,
How does it make your cells vibrate?
yeah.
I think when I had a big
yeah.
turning point on Drake was during his beef with Meek. I'm a huge fan of beef. I love it. I think it brings out the best in
Crushed
artists
Drake.
sometimes.
Kobe beef?
And when he dropped back to back, and I believe he went in
Yeah.
the studio for like 2 hours that night, and they put that track
That's
out.
crazy.
That was fucking
And
amazing.
you don't get together that quickly and write something that quickly and have ghostwriters on it. Like, I have full confidence
that
that
he did
Drake
that.
wrote that by himself.
Sure.
And
Is that your world tour or is that your girls tour?
Whoa.
and he just killed
bodied
me.
it.
Holy shit. And I still listen to that track, and it's weird because they're like pals now, like they're all good.
Yeah.
I think they're like about to do some
Buddy
shows
buddies.
together and shit.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
yeah, that track kind of flipped it, and I was
I
like,
wonder what
oh,
I wonder
he
what
does-
squashed the beef.
I
I wonder.
don't know. I think
just
they
like
kinda-
just like curious. Like, what do you guys hypothesize behind?
Well, it
Go
was
right.
just- it was just last year. I
Besides
think
the
we
money, of
watched
course.
it.
Kiss.
And I think
Very sweet kiss.
Yeah.
Meek, yeah.
Yeah. So
Passionate
Meek's
kiss on the
new
lips.
record is
Sweet peck on the
crazy dope.
He's chilling with the.
You don't
Patriots
peck
owner.
things with your
He's
lips.
sitting
You
there,
peck the pecker.
He got the key to the city.
Or-
And all it took was apologizing to Drake.
so I didn't hear
Well,
what the
didn't
city
he go to
actually
jail
apologized.
too? Because of the. I think like the whole.
Okay.
He went to jail for what? For nothing.
Got on a helicopter and went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Can we talk about how good Takashi is, maybe?
Yeah,
How
let's
good
talk.
he is?
Yeah.
Yeah, don't you love
Not
him?
unless that's a sushi place.
Who won?
I thought you.
Push and Drake.
I thought you told me that you loved Takashi.
Oh, yeah. No, this is great.
Yeah,
This is a good question.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Push
yeah,
versus
yeah.
Drake.
Why you gotta
Push
do
his
this?
Or-
ad
you know
lib
what?
is the
Yeah,
worst.
let's go.
Nothing wrong.
It's the worst, man. I fucking hate. Yuck.
I like it.
It's like fucking wettest sound ever onto a microphone.
Okay.
Fucking gross.
We only have a few minutes. So
Okay,
we don't
I'll
have to
be
go
quick.
super deep.
Okay, I think Drake had the better song,
Oops. Hey, Sody.
but at the end of the day, I feel like Push kind of like brought more
The
to the table.
dirt that he
Brought
brought
more
to the
table.
More truth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Whenever
Like
you-
the Push's
whenever-
song's not that like it's not that good, is it? Like I'm not listening to it.
The beat's okay.
Dra-
The lyrics are like, oh shit, okay, we're getting
Yeah.
into
Sure.
it.
Really? I didn't.
Drake's
I
song
didn't find
is
that
like
at all.
something I would.
I'll listen to it right
still.
now.
So Drake's is better at like his music. It's better musically.
Yeah,
But Pusha
Yeah,
cuts a lot deeper.
100%.
Yeah.
They both put their things in envelopes, but when Pusha touches his, you know what happens.
And I love the way they did it too, like
Oh,
a proper beef, like
whoa,
out to
Adam.
SoundCloud. Nobody's making any
Straight.
money off this shit.
Yeah.
Like it's just bar for bar.
Oh, speaking of
SoundCloud
SoundCloud,
has
Elon
ads now.
Musk on
Oh, I heard.
SoundCloud releasing a tribute song to Harambe.
it's out already.
It's already out.
Yeah,
Yeah, dude, it's crazy.
Edited
what a
in
time to
Ableton.
be alive!
Let's
you
put
guys
that
wanna
on
end it
the-
on this. We'll listen to
Yeah.
this.
Have you heard this, Nick?
I have not.
Okay, so he released it under Emo G Records, like Emo
Oh
Gangster
my
Records.
God.
And it's all auto-tuned, and I don't know what team he has, but what was it finalized on, Patrick?
Ableton.
Yeah,
I don't
you
know if you
fucking
guys
bet.
know about this
I
program.
cannot
It's,
believe.
it's a good one.
Can
You
believe
should all
this
get onto it.
exists? I can't.
Ableton Master Race.
He needs to chill out on whatever the fuck
That's
he's
Elon
on.
Musk?
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, this is Elon Musk
Full
auto-tuned.
musky. Hell yeah, dude! I need more.
So the
more
first
people-
main of the hook is R.I.P. Harambe sipping on some Bombay. Some dancehall beat.
Yo, what's the other line? Smoking on some bomb.
Yeah, this is the guy who flew a car into space.
You
It's the guy
smoke
who's
weed
writing
once
a
on Joe
tribute song
Rogan
to
and this is what
Harambe.
happens. Unbelievable.
I wish we had more dudes owning multinational corporations like Elon Musk.
Like Jerf Banzos?
I really wish Martin
Scorsese, I think.
Shkreli wasn't in prison, so Elon Musk and Martin Shkreli could have
Man, that hook-
super
that hook
villain
kick-
versus a superhero.
Yeah, this is.
Okay, here's
Yeah.
the question though.
Yeah, what do you got?
Would Tony Stark make this song?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Makes
Although
me
Elon Musk has never had to fight aliens with his bare fucking hands. Although bare hands with robot over it.
Elon Musk's Twitter handle is now.
Do you think he's-
Elon Musk's Twitter handle.
Do you think he's had this one in the chamber since Harambe's?
That's what I'm wondering. Like, what the fuck
You know
is
what's
going on
probably it?
right
Because it's
now?
probably because he has so little time. He's thought of this since Harambe died. And he's like, I really want to make this when I have free time. And then he finally has free time. He's like, we gotta make this thing happen. But he's like so out of the loop that it's like. But also, what date did Harambe die? Because maybe this is like an anniversary piece.
I don't recall. It was around this time. If I remember correctly.
When Harambe's death date. Dude, that's fucking
But yeah.
hilarious. Oh, it's early.
Before I play some other.
He's getting it out just in time for the
Oh, he
2-year in a couple months.
No, I think he actually released it on that date. Because he released it the day.
So
In
a
May?
year ago?
No, he released it. No,
Ian,
he
what
released
are you-
it the. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. Jesus.
Good
I thought it was
morning.
March.
You're thinking
I'm
of
sorry.
you're thinking
it
of
said
the
March.
month of Mar.
I thought.
That's
We'll-
the month
we'll
of
cut
May.
this one
You're
out.
thinking of the month of Mar.
I'm terrible. I'm a terrible human being.
Different month by one letter.
Good morning.
Anyway, we better close. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Anyway,
that's it for the podcast.
Let's buy Ian a calendar, and we'll be back next week when he fucking learns all the months.
What
Yeah.
year is it?
All right, Nick, you have anything you
Wanna plug?
Want to plug? Any social media?
We're gonna roll out the red carpet to you like Sean Evans.
this camera, this camera, and this camera.
Look at you,
Let
you
us know what you
king.
got going on in your life. I fucking love it.
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram, Nicky Columbus. On Twitter as well, Nicky Columbus. I'm on all streaming platforms, whatever you use. I don't know why you would use Tidal, but if you use it, use it.
Shade Throne.
Yeah, I'm trying to release a new song every other month. So I did this December, January, skipped out on February, got March done. Probably gonna skip out on April. I got some cooking for May, and then we'll go from there.
Dope.
Fuck, Joe.
May
Rest
20
in peace, Harambe.
straight.
Oh.
I'm gonna go listen to that when I get in.
Remember to follow us on
YouTube, Instagram, Twitter if you want. Our Twitter's kind of
Twitch.
dead, but
Yeah.
it's there.
but follow us at Ape Audio.
Yeah.
Fist.
Wait.
You gotta know. I don't give a hell. You gotta
Like, comment,
fist
subscribe.
it.
You gotta-
Share this with all of your friends and
Yeah.
family and
Wait,
all of your
wait,
close
wait, wait, we
loved
have an
ones, lovers,
announcement,
lovers,
though.
lovers.
Share it
We have
with your
an
dentist.
announcement.
Share
Would
it
you
with your
guys
dentist.
relax?
Dentistry is important.
Tell your
Dentistry.
dentist's niece
Dentistry
about this
is
podcast.
important.
You guys are gonna make
Dentistry.
me blow up. This
What,
Friday.
dude? That's so gross. Keep
this
that to yourself,
Friday-
dude.
Oh yeah,
you
this
listen
Friday.
to me?
Right, this Friday. He's right.
Friday.
This Friday we have a band from Saskatchewan coming down. They're
The
called
Saskatoon.
Faps. I know we normally don't do
That's awesome.
live episodes on Friday.
But we're gonna hit it with you hot on the day of the
Yo,
fucking
we're coming
potato
hard and
fries.
often this week.
Yeah.
Oh.
This episode's gonna be around 4:30, 5 o'clock. It might be a little bit shorter.
Eastern Standard
Tune in
Time.
if you want. If you like the episode, they're gonna be playing at Harmony Lunch later that night.
Check 'em out.
Yeah.
They'll
Check 'em
kick
out.
your ass.
R.I.P. Harambe. The Fab's interviewing on Friday.
Hey.
Oh.
All right, catch you guys then.
Adios.
All right.
Shit.
that bell!
Fist the bell. Fist the bell.